Chapter 3381. Their guess was right. I bought all the fretless fruits. Mo Qingyun felt guilty for a moment, but decided not to hide the truth from Qian Linglong. Qian Linglong was stunned. She looked at Mo Qingyun in surprise and said, "You're saying that you bought all the fretless fruits in the Carefree Valley?" Mo Qingyun nodded. He did not explain. He just waved his hand. As Mo Qingyun waved his hand, various spiritual fruits emitting a mysterious aura floated in front of him. Qian Linglong was stunned as she looked at the fretless fruits floating in front of her. She found it hard to believe. Mo Qingyun had really bought all the fretless fruits in the Carefree Valley. After a moment of surprise, Qian Linglong was puzzled. She asked, "How did you know that Xianin and Xianyue were going to the Carefree Valley to buy the fretless fruits to erase my memory? If you didn't know, why did you buy so many fretless fruits?" When he heard Qian Linglong's question, Mo Qingyun smiled faintly and said, "Previously, when I was being hunted in the celestial realm, I met Miss Xianin and the others. During their conversation, I learned that they wanted to buy the fretless fruit to erase your memories. Therefore, I beat them to it and bought all the fretless fruits." Qian Linglong felt helpless after learning about Mo Qingyun's actions. She could not help but glare at Mo Qingyun and say, "You're so mean. I had no choice but to do this." Mo Qingyun sighed and said, "If I hadn't purchased all the fretless fruits and allowed Miss Xianin and the others to purchase them, then you would have probably forgotten the past by now, and you wouldn't remember me either." Qian Linglong nodded in agreement. If Kong Xianyue and the others had brought back the fretless fruits, she would have eaten them under the persuasion of the ancestral patriarchs. Qian Linglong thought about it. She was puzzled again. She said, "The fretless fruit is not an ordinary item. According to what you said, you were only a heaven general at the time. How could the people of Fretless Valley treat you like that?" Qian Linglong's face was filled with curiosity as soon as she finished speaking. She was really curious about Mo Qingyun's experiences during this period of time. It's a long story. I'll tell you slowly now. Seeing that it was impossible to talk about Carefree Valley in one go, Mo Qingyun decided to start from the beginning. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Qian Linglong's beautiful eyes lit up, and the curiosity on her face became even stronger. Mo Qingyun wanted to start talking, which was naturally the best outcome. After that, Qian Linglong sat quietly at the side and listened to Mo Qingyun talk about his experience. Qian Linglong's face was filled with shock and worry as she listened to Mo Qingyun's explanation. Mo Qingyun's experiences in the past few years were really too rich and colorful. A few days later, Mo Qingyun recounted his experiences in the past few years to Qian Linglong. After learning about Mo Qingyun's experiences, Qian Linglong couldn't help but lament, "I didn't expect that your experiences in the past few years would be as thrilling as when you left the Tianhan continent and arrived at the desolate continent." Mo Qingyun smiled faintly and didn't deny it. Compared to him, the princes and princesses of Kong Xuantian's sacred clan had grown up too monotonously. While Qian Linglong was lamenting, she became curious and asked, "By the way, where is Lame Yuan? I want to see her." "All right." Mo Qingyun didn't refuse Qian Linglong's request. Mo Qingyun raised his hand, and a shadow flashed in front of him. A beautiful figure appeared. Seeing Lame Yuan appear, Qian Linglong's face twitched, and a look of surprise flashed in her eyes. She was very clear about the existence of Long Hanyin, Han Wenyu, and Murong Qingyu. They were all her clones. However, the Lame Yuan in front of her wasn't her clone. Even so, Lame Yuan looked the same as her, which was a little strange. More importantly, she could feel a certain connection with Lame Yuan. "She really looks exactly like me." Looking at Qian Linglong in front of her, Lame Yuan was also shocked and couldn't calm down for a long time. After looking at Qian Linglong and the other girls, Lame Yuan calmed down a little. She turned to look at Mo Qingyun and said, "I didn't expect what you said to be true. She really looks exactly like me." Mo Qingyun nodded in response to Lame Yuan's words. He then looked at Qian Linglong and said, "Linglong, the relationship between you and Mu Wan might be related to Hierarch Thousand Illusions." Hearing Mo Qingyun's guess, Qian Linglong's beautiful eyes trembled slightly, and a look of realization appeared on her face. She said, "Qingyun, after hearing what you said, I also think that it should be the case. When I returned to the clan, I heard Ancestor Shi say that I might be the reincarnation of Hierarch Thousand Illusions. But what puzzled them was that I seemed to be incomplete, as if I was missing something." Hearing Qian Linglong's words, Mo Qingyun's expression tensed up, and he subconsciously looked at Lame Yuan. In his opinion, if Lame Yuan was discovered, it would be bad for her and Qian Linglong. Mo Qingyun thought for a while and said, "In that case, you must not tell anyone about Mu Wan. If your relationship with Mu Wan is exposed, there's no guarantee that the ancestor of the sacred clan won't find a way to use you to revive Hierarch Thousand Illusions." Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Qian Linglong and Qian Linglong's expressions tensed up as well. This was especially so for Qian Linglong. She knew very well what the ancestor of the sacred clan was thinking. After Mo Qingyun and the other two talked for a while, Lame Yuan looked at Qian Linglong and said, "Qingyun, I would like to talk to Linglong alone. I will leave with her first." "All right." Mo Qingyun didn't reject Lame Yuan's request and immediately nodded in agreement. After that, Lame Yuan and Qian Linglong left and disappeared from Mo Qingyun's sight. Mo Qingyun frowned as he looked at the backs of Lame Yuan and Luo Yunyang. He felt a great pressure. There were many things that had yet to be exposed. Once they were exposed, there would be great trouble. Forget it. Let's take it one step at a time. Mo Qingyun sighed and got rid of the distracting thoughts in his mind. The most important thing now is to increase our strength. If we are strong enough, even the sacred clan of Kong Xintian won't be able to break us up and harm Mu Wan and Ling Long. If I'm not strong enough, no matter how worried or scared I am, it will be useless. With this thought in mind, Mo Qingyun didn't think too much about it. He sat down cross-legged on the spot and started cultivating. Then, a large number of heaven crystals were taken out and placed around Mo Qingyun for him to refine and absorb. Chapter 3382. A few days passed by in the blink of an eye. After a few days of heart-to-heart talk, the relationship between Lame Yuan and Qian Linglong had become much closer. Through the conversation with Qian Linglong, Lame Yuan knew everything about Long Han Yin and the others. It seems like it will take some time to figure out our relationship and identity. Thinking about her true identity and her relationship with Qian Linglong and the others, Lame Yuan felt a sense of urgency. Hearing Lame Yuan's words, Qian Linglong nodded in agreement, but changed the topic. "We can slowly investigate these things in the future. The most important thing now is how to preserve my memories. Also, I've been in the Fortune mainland for a few days. I have to leave immediately. If I continue to stay here, I'm afraid the purple locks won't be able to protect me." Lame Yuan nodded in agreement with Qian Linglong's worries and concerns. It was indeed not worth it if it caused others to think too much. "In that case, let's go find Qingyun." As soon as Lame Yuan finished speaking, she walked forward and prepared to ask Mo Qingyun to send Qian Linglong out. Before long, the two women arrived in front of Mo Qingyun and found that Mo Qingyun was wholeheartedly immersed in cultivation. Seeing this, Lame Yuan frowned and said, looking at Qingyun's appearance, "He seems to be wholeheartedly cultivating. If you want to leave, you have to wake him up from his cultivation." Hearing Lame Yuan's words, Qian Linglong showed a hesitant expression and said, "He is now at a critical stage of his cultivation. If I wake him up now, it may affect his cultivation. The Holy War continent is full of danger. More strength is more protection. You still said not to wake him up from his cultivation." Hearing Qian Linglong's thoughts, Lame Yuan's pretty face was startled, and she instinctively felt a little worried. "But if you don't leave, it may cause unnecessary trouble." Facing Lame Yuan's worries, Qian Linglong shook her head and said, "Compared to my troubles, I want him to be safe. Since he is cultivating, I can't delay it. I have to strive to improve my cultivation before entering the Holy War continent. If I can break through to the God Emperor realm and enter the Holy War continent, I can help Qin a lot. When Qian Linglong said this, she sat down cross-legged, looking as if she was going to enter her cultivation. Looking at Qian Linglong's eyes, Lei Muan's eyes, and a look of an eye's face, she said, Linglong, Linglong, of the eye of a peak God King realm expert, you is of an eye size of the world, of the eye, of the eye, of the eyes, S of an eye, eyes, eye of an eye, eyes of an ice, of an eye of an eye. Qian Linglong did not say anything about Lei Muan's departure. She focused her mind and immersed herself in cultivation. Time slowly passed. After an unknown amount of time, Mo Qingyun, who had been cultivating all this time, slowly opened his eyes. The corner of his lips curled into a joyful smile. 50,000 strands of law. I didn't expect my progress to be so great. It seems like every realm has a limit. Once you reach the limit, you won't gain much even if you cultivate as hard as you can. But if you cross that pit, your cultivation will be twice the result with half the effort, advancing 1,000 miles in a day. Mo Qingyun was very clear that the reason he could condense the strands of law so quickly was because he had broken through to the heavenly God realm. If he hadn't broken through to the heavenly God realm, his gains from cultivating in seclusion would be negligible. With my current strength, if I fight Kong Ran again, I should be able to crush him. Mo Qingyun muttered to himself with a faint smile. He stood up and saw that Qian Linglong was already waiting for him. Seeing that Qian Linglong was right in front of him, Mo Qingyun didn't say anything. He quickly walked to her side and said, I was a little too engrossed in my cultivation and forgot to send you out of the Fortune mainland. I wonder if there will be any trouble. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Qian Linglong smiled gently and said, It's okay, as long as I'm by your side. No matter what trouble I encounter, I'm not afraid. Qian Linglong's words warmed Mo Qingyun's heart, and his gaze became even gentler. At this moment, Mo Qingyun noticed that Qian Linglong's momentum seemed to be stronger than before. Half-step God Emperor realm. Sensing Qian Linglong's cultivation, Mo Qingyun's eyes flashed with astonishment. It seems like he didn't slack off during this time. I don't know if we have reached the entrance of the ruins. Let's go out first. Qian Linglong nodded and left with Mo Qingyun, reappearing in the cabin. When Mo Qingyun and Qian Linglong returned to the cabin, Kong Xian, who had been guarding the cabin, immediately breathed out in relief and said, You two finally came out. If you didn't come out, I wouldn't have been able to hold on. I beg you to, next time if you disappear into thin air like this, can you give me a way to contact you? If something unexpected happens, I can inform you, so I don't have to worry all the time. Hearing Kong Xian's words, Mo Qingyun smiled embarrassedly with an apologetic expression. Miss Xian, I'm really sorry this time. It was my negligence. Seeing that Mo Qingyun's attitude was not bad, Kong Xian's expression turned for the better, and he wasn't really angry. Qian Linglong smiled sweetly and winked at Kong Xian, saying, Xian, I know you're the best. Next time you need help, I'll do my best to cover for you. Hearing Qian Linglong's words, Kong Xian pretended to be displeased and snorted softly. Humph. I won't encounter such a thing. You two better think about what to do next. Not long ago, the patriarch and the elders came over many times, saying that they had something to tell you. I used the excuse that you were in seclusion to send them away. Your cultivations have all broken through. Could it be that you've refined some treasure during this period of time? As soon as Kong Xian said this, she looked at Mo Qingyun with an expectant expression. Her meaning was obvious. She was hinting to Mo Qingyun that he should share some benefits with her. Guessing Kong Xian's thoughts, Mo Qingyun smiled apologetically and said, I didn't refine any treasure. I just happened to have some comprehension, so I immersed myself in cultivation. I didn't expect my cultivation to improve. Stingy. Kong Xian didn't listen to Mo Qingyun's explanation and rolled her eyes at him. At this moment, before Kong Xian could speak again, a solemn voice was heard. Xian, has Linglong finished her cultivation? The patriarch has something to tell her. Hearing the voice outside the cabin, Qin and the other two were shocked and immediately became serious. They didn't expect the elders to come so soon. They had to be careful. Chapter 3383. Go out. While Qian was hesitating, Qin gave her an encouraging look. Since the clan leader and the elder had summoned them, they could not avoid it. If they tried to shirk their duties, it would only make them think too much. Qian nodded and walked out of the cabin. Qian walked out of the cabin, followed by Qin and Kong Xian. They walked out of the cabin together. When the elder outside the ship saw Qin group of three walk out, he revealed a look of shock. She could clearly feel that Qin and the other two's auras were stronger than before. In particular, Qin's cultivation had broken through from the early sky god realm to the middle sky god realm. In less than a month, his cultivation had risen from the early sky god realm to the middle sky god realm. This kind of cultivation speed could be said to be frightening. This kid is really monstrous. After sizing up Qin, the elder sighed and said, "The two of you come with me." After the elder finished speaking, she turned around and led the way for the two of them. Qin and the other two exchanged glances and did not say anything. They followed the elder silently. For Qin and the other two, it was best for the three of them to go together. This way, if Kong Qinglu and the others asked, they could still communicate. Soon, the three of them arrived at a huge cabin under the elder's lead. At this moment, there were already quite a number of people seated in the cabin. Among them were the elders of the sacred clan, some saintesses, princes, and princesses. These saintesses, princes, and princesses had all broken through to the Emperor God realm. Qin was familiar with many of those who had broken through to the Emperor God realm, such as Kong Luo and Kong Shinin. Greetings, clan leader and elders. Greetings, elders. Qin and the other two entered the cabin and saluted respectfully. In response to Qin and the other two's greetings, Kong Qinglu smiled faintly and waved his hand. No need to be so courteous. Find a place to sit. Hearing Kong Qingluo's words, Qin and the other two nodded and casually found a place to sit down. After Qin and the other two were seated, Green Willow Kong revealed a solemn expression and said, "This time, I summoned you here mainly because I have something to tell you. According to the news from the other clans, traces of ancient gods have appeared in the Holy War continent. If you can capture an ancient god, no matter if it's alive or dead, the clan will give you extra rewards. In addition, the juniors of the Holy Gate clan have entered the Holy War continent and found the transboundary teleportation array. If you can, I hope you can seize the teleportation array." Azure Willow Kong did not stop talking and told him a lot of information. Every piece of information was very important and related to many secrets. Hearing Kong Qingluo's words, Qin and the others immediately responded and made a promise to Kong Qinglu. After Kong Qinglu finished explaining, Jiao Qingxi stood up and said, "Clan leader, I heard that Linglong's saintess has been very close to Qin today. I think this is not in line with Linglong's saintess's personality. You have to be careful." Hearing Jiao Qingxi's words, the expressions of some elders immediately darkened. When they looked at Qin, their gazes were filled with hostility. Perhaps in their opinion, Qin was too close to Qian Linglong, and he might have bewitched Qian Linglong's thoughts. Qin did not care about the hostility of the elders. He sat there with an indifferent expression. Looking at Qin's calm expression, Kong Qinglu was curious and asked, "Mr. Mo, Linglong's personality has always been indifferent. I wonder what method you used to make her feel familiar with you at first sight." Hearing Kong Qingluo's words, Qin squinted his eyes. He felt that there was a hidden meaning in her words. Familiar at first sight? Was she suspecting that he was already familiar with Qian Linglong? If that was the case, Kong Qinglu and the others were undoubtedly filled with hostility towards Qin. Under everyone's gazes, Qin smiled faintly and said, "I got along well with Linglong's saintess. Perhaps I gave her the feeling that I was more interesting than the people of the profound Heavenly Clan. After all, I have always been wandering around the world. I have experienced many interesting things, which made her interested. In addition, she was also very interested in the 9 great heavenly sacred clans, so I chatted with her. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Kong Qinglu and the others' gazes became much friendlier. Mo Qingyun's answer was very reasonable. Immediately, Kong Qinglu looked at Qian Linglong and asked, Linglong, is that true? Yes, it is just as Mr. Mo said. Qian Linglong nodded and said, during this period of time, after talking with Mr. Mo, I was deeply touched and enlightened. My cultivation has also improved. Hearing Qian Linglong's words, Kong Qinglu and the others' faces were filled with interest. Immediately, they released their divine consciousness and sensed Qian Linglong. After sensing for a while, they all smiled happily. Qian Linglong's cultivation had improved. At this moment, Mo Qingyun smiled faintly and said, speaking of which, after talking with Linglong's saintess, I have also gained a lot. As Mo Qingyun spoke, he released some of his aura, which shocked Kong Qinglu and the others. Middle stage, heavenly god realm. Mo Qingyun's cultivation had broken through to the middle stage heavenly god realm. How is this possible? Didn't he just break through? This guy's cultivation speed is really unprecedented. It's too strange. Even if an expert reincarnated and recultivated, his cultivation speed would not be as fast as his. Sensing Mo Qingyun's cultivation, everyone was shocked. While Azure Sky Willow and the others were shocked, the hostility in their eyes towards Mo Qingyun had clearly lessened. In their opinion, Mo Qingyun and Qian Linglong were only talking to each other to improve their cultivation. At this moment, while everyone was talking, an elder walked in and said, Clan leader, we have arrived at the Outer World Relic. We can go now. Hearing the elder's report, Kong Qinglu and the others were shocked, and their expressions became a little excited. Immediately, they got up and walked out of the room. Soon, they arrived at the boat. As Mo Qingyun walked out of the cabin, he saw a huge continent in front of him. Between the continent and the heavenly realm, there was a space of nothingness. It was chaotic and dark. However, in this chaotic space of nothingness, there was a colorful door of light. If he was not mistaken, this door of light was the passage to the Holy War continent. When Kong Qinglu and the others walked out of the boat, a few people near the door of light quickly flew towards them. Chapter 3384. Greetings, Patriarch and Elders. When the people near the light gate arrived, they saluted respectfully. Kong Qinglu waved her hand and said, There's no need to be so polite. What's the current situation? Hearing Kong Qinglu's question, one of them said, It's a little quiet here at the moment, but judging from the fluctuations of the teleportation portal, there should be 10 forces entering the Holy War continent. 8 of them are from the top clans of the 15 regions, and 2 are from the Outer Void. After listening to this person's report, Kong Qinglu frowned and said, These guys are quite fast. It seems that they are determined to get what's inside. Kong Qinglu muttered to herself, and without saying anything more, she flew towards the teleportation portal in a flash. Seeing Kong Qinglu's action, the elders behind her hurriedly flew towards the teleportation portal. When Kong Qinglu and the others arrived at the teleportation portal, they attacked together and blasted a burst of divine power into the portal. Then, the light gate at the teleportation portal shone brightly, and a huge passage appeared. When the passage appeared, Kong Qinglu said with a serious expression, Time is limited. Quickly enter. Hearing Kong Qinglu's instructions, Kong Beaver and the other women at the front of the crowd entered in a flash. Seeing Kong Beaver and the other women's actions, Mo Qingyun gestured to Kong Xian and the other women and flew towards the teleportation portal. At this moment, when Mo Qingyun flew towards the teleportation portal, Kong Ran stopped him and said, Mo Qingyun, as an outsider, you want to get ahead of us. Aren't you taking the initiative? As soon as Kong Ran finished speaking, his figure flashed and entered in front of Mo Qingyun. Hearing Kong Ran's words, some people nearby, looked at Mo Qingyun with hostility. In their opinion, Kong Ran was right. Mo Qingyun was indeed taking the initiative. Mo Qingyun didn't care about everyone's displeasure and flew into the teleportation portal unhurriedly. Then, Mo Qingyun's vision blurred, and he arrived on a huge continent. Go to hell. At this moment, before Mo Qingyun could adapt to the environment, a cold voice sounded. Then, Mo Qingyun saw a blood sword stabbing towards him. As the blood sword neared, it emitted a cold aura, as if it was going to cut the sky apart. Be careful. Qian Linglong, who had followed Mo Qingyun into the Holy War continent, immediately reminded him when she saw this scene. While Qian Linglong reminded him, she also lifted her jade-like arm and prepared to block the attack for Mo Qingyun. As Qian Linglong made her move, a strange voice could be heard. Qian Linglong, why are you in such a hurry? Are you so worried about your little lover? As soon as the voice was heard, a figure appeared in front of Qian Linglong and slapped her. Facing this person's attack, Qian Linglong's body was blocked. She looked at him coldly. Jiao Qingxi, don't go too far. I'm just disdainful of you. I'm not really afraid of you. Seeing Jiao Qingxi's action, Qian Linglong warned her with a cold face. However, Jiao Qingxi didn't care about Qian Linglong's warning, and her attack didn't weaken at all. At this moment, Kong Xian also came in. Seeing Jiao Qingxi's action, she immediately shouted angrily, Jiao Qingxi, since you insist on humiliating yourself, we'll play with you. As soon as Kong Xian finished speaking, her figure flashed, and she charged towards Jiao Qingxi. At this moment, while the three women were fighting, the sword light arrived in front of Mo Qingyun. Facing the attack of the sword light, Mo Qingyun didn't choose to take it head-on. Instead, he quickly dodged. Boom! As Mo Qingyun dodged, the sword light slammed into the ground, causing it to shake. Seeing the power of the sword light, Mo Qingyun was slightly shocked. He looked at the figure in front of him and said, Kong Ran, you're really getting more and more useless. The dignified first prince of the Kong Profound Heaven Sacred Clan is reduced to a sneak attack from behind. Ridiculous and shameful. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Kong Ran's face immediately turned ugly. He said coldly, winner takes all. As long as I kill you, all the humiliation will be gone with the wind. Hearing Kong Ran's words, Mo Qingyun shook his head with a faint smile and said, will it really be gone with the wind? Don't tell me that you're just deceiving yourself. What you're doing now will only make you more despised by others. Well, my cultivation has improved recently, and I happen to need a sparring partner. I'll use you to practice. As soon as Mo Qingyun finished speaking, his figure flashed, and he took the initiative to face Kong Ran. Divine Thunder Dragon Wave. Mo Qingyun punched out, and a violent divine power condensed on his fist. At the same time, law threads began to condense above him. In a short while, 3,000 to 5,000 law threads appeared above Mo Qingyun, exuding a powerful aura. 35,000. The number of law threads condensed by Mo Qingyun has increased by another 5,000. This guy's improvement speed is really too fast. According to the power of his law threads, his 35,000 law threads are equivalent to our 170,000. Kong Ran wasn't his opponent back then. Can he still fight him now? Seeing Mo Qingyun's performance, the surrounding people were shocked. The strength that Mo Qingyun displayed right now frightened them all. If they hadn't seen it with their own eyes, they wouldn't have believed that a person's strength could improve so quickly. Under everyone's shocked gaze, a huge lightning dragon blasted towards Kong Ran at an extremely fast speed. In the blink of an eye, the terrifying lightning dragon arrived above Kong Ran's head. Blood dyed the sky. Facing the lightning dragon's attack, Kong Ran's expression tensed, and he immediately waved the blood sword in his hand. As Kong Ran waved his sword, a powerful aura also erupted from his body. At the same time, 110,000 law threads also condensed outside his body. These law threads condensed and integrated into the sword light he slashed out, increasing the sword light's power. Bang! When the sword light collided with the lightning dragon, a loud bang erupted, producing a terrifying divine power storm. However, to everyone's surprise, the sword light quickly collapsed under the lightning dragon's attack. It could be said that under the lightning dragon's bombardment, the sword light, slashed out by Kong Ran, could not withstand a single blow. How could this be? Seeing that his sword was actually defeated by Mo Qingyun, Kong Ran was so shocked that his expression trembled. Under Kong Ran's shocked gaze, the lightning dragon approached at an extremely fast speed and slapped him with a claw. Bang! After being hit by the lightning dragon's claw, he was immediately sent flying with blood spurting out of his mouth. Then, the aura he emitted began to weaken rapidly. Seeing this situation, the surrounding people were stunned. One blow. Mo Qingyun used only one blow to crush Kong Ran. Chapter 3385. Did I see wrongly? Mo Qingyun defeated Kong Ran in one strike. It's only been a month, but the gap between Mo Qingyun and Kong Ran has widened so much. That's not the point. The point is that we don't know if Mo Qingyun used his full strength. Watching the battle between Mo Qingyun and Kong Ran, everyone was talking at once. Under everyone's shocked gazes, Mo Qingyun shook his head in disappointment. He looked at Kong Ran, who was in a sorry state, and said, "I didn't expect the gap between us to become so big after a month. It's really disappointing. I originally thought that you could become my sparring partner, but now it seems that I can't even warm up with you." Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Kong Ran's face immediately turned livid. Mo Qingyun's words were too humiliating. However, what made him even angrier was that he couldn't refute. In exchange just now, he was indeed vulnerable. Mo Qingyun, don't be too proud. You just have the upper hand for a while. Kong Ran gripped the sword in his hand and forcefully suppressed the anger in his heart. I'll remember this. When I break through to the Dao God Emperor realm, I'll slowly settle the score with you. As soon as Kong Ran finished speaking, he turned around to leave. He didn't want to continue fighting with Mo Qingyun. He knew very well that continuing to fight with Mo Qingyun would only make him more embarrassed and suffer more serious injuries. Seeing that Kong Ran was about to leave, Mo Qingyun snorted and said, "You want to leave just because you can't beat me? How can there be such a good thing? Hand over your holy light, and I won't make things difficult for you anymore." As soon as Mo Qingyun finished speaking, his figure flashed, and he chased after Kong Ran. Stepping on the 10-winged divine power Pegasus, Mo Qingyun's figure flashed a few times, and he caught up to Kong Ran. Seeing Mo Qingyun approaching, Kong Ran's face turned pale with fright. He hurriedly took out a blood sword and activated it. Kong Ran activated the blood sword, which turned into a ray of blood light and enveloped him. Then, Kong Ran turned into a ray of blood light and fled deep into the Holy War continent. Want to escape? It's not that easy. Absorb. Seeing Kong Ran's action, Mo Qingyun's face sank and he grabbed at him. When Mo Qingyun's palm strike, a terrifying divine power turned into a palm shadow grab at Kong Ran. When the palm shadow came into contact with Sky Dai, it violently tore apart a ball of light. It was Kong Ran's holy light. It's a pity. Looking at the ball of light in his hand, Mo Qingyun sighed. He felt a little disappointed. Originally, he wanted to directly use holy light on Kong Ran and let him leave the Holy War continent. But now it seemed that this idea, Mo Qingyun murmured a few words to himself. Then, he fused Kiran's holy light into his own. Then, the radiance of the holy light on his body immediately became much stronger. It seems that the holy light on my body can last for another day and a half. Looking at the holy light on his body, Mo Qingyun looked at Jiao Qingxi. His expression gradually turned cold. He thought, this woman has repeatedly targeted Linglong. It's time to teach her a lesson. With that thought, Mo Qingyun moved and arrived outside the battle circle of Jiao Qingxi and the others. Mo Qingyun's arrival made Jiao Qingxi panic and her face turn a little pale. Her strength was a little lacking compared to Kong Xian, and she could barely contend with her. Under the joint attack of Kong Xian and Qianling Long, she was already a little powerless. If Mo Qingyun also joined in, she would only be the one to be crushed. Looking at the battle of Jiao Qingxi and the others, Mo Qingyun was not in a hurry to make a move. He said coldly, "I'll give you a chance. Hand over 1/3 of your holy light, and I won't pursue this matter anymore." Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Jiao Qingxi's pretty face trembled, revealing a strong unwillingness. If she handed over 1/3 of her holy light, she would only have 2 days left on the Holy War continent. This was undoubtedly extremely disadvantageous for her treasure hunt. "Don't even think about it." Jiao Qingxi snorted softly and rejected Mo Qingyun's proposal. Seeing Jiao Qingxi's attitude, Mo Qingyun no longer talked nonsense and said, "Since you're unwilling to accept my good intentions, I can only take action personally and seize your holy light." As soon as Mo Qingyun's words fell, he blasted out a palm and launched an attack on Jiao Qingxi. Then, a terrifying divine power blasted out from Mo Qingyun's palm. When the divine power blasted out, it fused with the law threads and turned into a huge lightning dragon that crushed down on Jiao Qingxi. In the blink of an eye, the lightning dragon approached and swung its claws at Jiao Qingxi. Seeing the lightning dragon attacking, Jiao Qingxi's pretty face trembled slightly, and she said in a panic, "Mo Qingyun, are you a man? You actually attacked a woman." Hearing Jiao Qingxi call herself a woman, Mo Qingyun sneered and said, "Jiao Qingxi, don't use this kind of low-level provocation to embarrass yourself. Facing a woman like you, I don't dare show mercy. Otherwise, I might not even leave behind a corpse." Mo Qingyun responded and did not say anything else. The attack on his hand became fiercer. The palm shadow of the lightning dragon blasted in front of Jiao Qingxi, forcing her to resist with all her strength. Trickling clear stream, Jiao Qingxi raised her arms slightly and quickly formed hand seals with both hands. When these hand seals were formed, they emitted a fierce aura and rapidly gathered divine power. Soon, a small stream of divine power formed above Jiao Qingxi and fused with more than 100,000 law threads. Rip! What shocked everyone was that the stream of divine power was torn apart like a thin piece of paper by the lightning dragon's huge claw attack. After the lightning dragon tore apart the stream of divine power, its attack did not decrease in the slightest. It continued to attack Jiao Qingxi with its claw. Bang bang. However, before the lightning dragon's attack landed, Jiao Qingxi was hit by Kong Xian and Qianling Long. After being hit, Jiao Qingxi was sent flying and spat out a mouthful of blood. Immediately, the aura emitted by Jiao Qingxi weakened by nearly 30%. After seriously injuring Jiao Qingxi, Qianling Long and Qianling Long did not continue to attack. They slowly approached with cold expressions. Mo Qingyun's figure flashed and appeared above Jiao Qingxi. He said, "I don't want to attack a woman. Hand over your holy glorious light." Hearing Mo Qingyun's request, Jiao Qingxi's face turned pale and her eyes became somewhat hollow. She would never have thought that it would turn out like this. At this moment, while Jiao Qingxi was struggling in her heart, a petite figure approached and said, "Although Jiao Qingxi was wrong, you directly took away her holy glorious light. Isn't that too overbearing?" The patriarch made an exception and allowed people to participate in the sacred war. "You came in and eliminated our saintess. Isn't this a little unreasonable?" Hearing this person's words, the surrounding onlookers' expressions became solemn. Jiao Qingxi was immediately overjoyed, and an excited expression appeared on her face. The second saintess, Shui Yun, stood up for her. Chapter 3386. Then according to Miss, what should I do? Mo Qingyun was a little surprised by Shui Yun's appearance, but he didn't back down. She didn't stop Jiao Qingxi when she provoked her, but now she was trying to reason with her. She really thought too highly of herself. Seeing Mo Qingyun's attitude, Kong Xian and the other girls' expressions became serious. Mo Qingyun was going to confront Shui Yun. At this moment, Kong Xianin and Kong Xianhua came in and saw the scene in front of them. They walked over in confusion and asked, "What happened? Why is Mr. Mo confronting Saintess Yuntan?" Hearing Kong Xuanyua's question, Kong Xian told the two of them what had happened earlier. After listening to Kong Xian's story, Kong Xuanyua's pretty face immediately showed a touch of anger. She said, "When Jiao Qingxi was looking for trouble, you didn't stand up for justice, but now you're trying to reason with her. You're obviously trying to protect Jiao Qingxi." I've always heard people say that Jiao Qingxi and Shui Yun are very close. Now it seems to be true. Kong Xianin thought for a while and said, "Shui Yun has always been competing with the space beaver, but she's not strong enough. So she wants to rope in some people to increase her confidence in competing with the space beaver. She tried to rope me in before, but I rejected her. After that, it was left unsettled. Although I rejected her, many people accepted her. Jiao Qingxi is one of them. She can be considered as Shui Yun's right-hand woman." While Kong Xian and the other girls were talking, Shui Yun's pretty face became serious. She said, "My request is very simple. You injured Jiao Qingxi, apologize to her now, and this matter will be over." Mo Qingyun immediately laughed with ridicule when he heard Shui Yun's request, and he said, "Miss Shui, you really are able to discern right from wrong. Why don't we compensate you with some more brilliant light to make up for our mistake from before?" Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, the surrounding people's expressions immediately became strange. Naturally, everyone could tell that Mo Qingyun's words were sarcastic towards Shui Yun. Looking at Mo Qingyun's attitude, it seems like he's not going to give up so easily. Based on my understanding of Mo Qingyun, no matter who he is facing, he will not back down. This is going to be a good show. Shui Yun isn't Kongran. If Mo Qingyun fights with her, I'm afraid he won't be able to gain any advantage. I don't think so. Although Mo Qingyun is domineering, he's not a brainless person. He must have something to rely on. Looking at Mo Qingyun's actions, everyone had some expectations. This time, if Mo Qingyun were to fight with Shui Yun, would he still be able to suppress her? One had to know, the difference in cultivation realm between Mo Qingyun and Shui Yun was a full 2 major realms. Under everyone's attention, Shui Yun smiled faintly and said, "Since you brought it up, I naturally have to compensate you. The 3 of you will each receive a day's worth of holy light as compensation for Jiao Qingxi's injuries." Hearing Shui Yun's words, everyone's expression changed, and they all turned to look at Mo Qingyun. Shui Yun had really brought up this request. It seemed that the 2 sides were going to have a fight. "Qingyun, what do we do?" Mo Qingyun, "Shui Yun is extremely strong. I'm afraid she won't be easy to deal with." Seeing Shui Yun's attitude, Kong Xian and the other girls' faces tensed up, and they all asked for Mo Qingyun's opinion. Hearing the girls' questions, Mo Qingyun smiled indifferently and gave them a comforting look. Then, Mo Qingyun walked up and looked at Shui Yun with a faint smile. "Saintess Yuntan, although you're strong, you really don't see the big picture. No wonder you're always suppressed by Kong Beaver. If I were you, I'd distance myself from Jiao Qingxi and not get involved in the muddy water between us." Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Shui Yun frowned and looked at Mo Qingyun coldly. Although everyone knew about the secret conflict between her and Kong Beaver, no one dared to say it out loud. Mo Qingyun's direct statement was undoubtedly a mockery to her. It had touched her bottom line. Mo Qingyun didn't care about Shui Yun's angry gaze and continued, "You should have seen the potential on our side. Do you think it's a good deal to offend so many of us because of Jiao Qingxi?" Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Shui Yun's expression changed, and she glanced at Qian Linglong and the other girls. Although the cultivation levels of Qian Linglong and the other 3 ladies were not high, they had great potential, especially Qian Linglong and Kong Xian. Once the 2 girls broke through to the Celestial Emperor realm, their fighting strength would definitely soar. At that time, she would have to face 4 Celestial Emperor realm geniuses. Seeing Shui Yun's hesitant expression, Mo Qingyun didn't rush her. He just watched her make a decision quietly. Seeing Shui Yun's reaction, Jiao Qingxi panicked and said hurriedly, "Sister Yin Tan, although they have a lot of people, we have a lot of people too. My sister and I will break through to the Celestial Emperor realm soon. We might not lose to them. As long as you help me stop them, I'll give you everything we've gained on the Sacred War Continent. Besides, we can also contact Kong Ran. If she breaks through, she'll be a great help to us." Hearing Jiao Qingxi's words, Shui Yun's frown deepened. This promise really moved her heart. Shui Yun hesitated for a moment before making a decision. "All right, I'll stop them for you. Remember your promise." As soon as Shui Yun finished speaking, her figure flashed and attacked Mo Qingyun and the others. Seeing Shui Yun's action, Mo Qingyun shook his head and said, "She's really short-sighted." As soon as Mo Qingyun finished speaking, he stopped hesitating and immediately attacked Shui Yun. "Let's attack too." Seeing Mo Qingyun attack, Qian Linglong and the others didn't hesitate and helped Mo Qingyun. When Qian Linglong and the others attacked, some of Shui Yun's followers also helped her. In an instant, a chaotic battle broke out. It was an earth-shattering battle. Seeing such a scene, the surrounding onlookers all quickly backed away. They didn't want to be involved. Shui Yun's followers were very powerful. Although they weren't saintesses, they were all princesses who were ranked at the top. In the face of Shui Yun's strong attack, Mo Qingyun and the others quickly fell into a disadvantageous position and were forced to retreat. "Our cultivation levels are low. It's not wise to fight them head-on. Let's retreat first." Seeing their situation, Mo Qingyun's expression turned solemn, and he reminded Qian Linglong and the others. After hearing Mo Qingyun's instructions, Qian Linglong and the others no longer fought head-on. They retreated while fighting. Although Mo Qingyun and the others weren't a match for them, it wasn't difficult for them to leave if they wanted to. After a while, they retreated from the battle and got rid of Shui Yun and the others. Chapter 33:87. Finally got rid of them. Seeing that Shui Yun and the others did not chase after them, Kong Xinyue took a deep breath and felt relieved. Although her cultivation was higher than Mo Qingyun's, she was the weakest among the people who fought just now. If they continued to fight, the pressure she would have to bear would undoubtedly be huge. Now that they got rid of Shui Yun and the others, the pressure on her was undoubtedly greatly reduced. "What do we do now?" Kong Xian frowned and asked Mo Qingyun's plan. Hearing Kong Xian's question, the girls looked at Mo Qingyun and waited for his arrangement. Mo Qingyun thought for a moment and said, "Shui Yun and the others did not chase after us, which means that they are also afraid and do not dare to fight to the death with us. Shui Yun and the others are not a problem. With our current strength, they can't do anything to us. The most important thing now is how to find the holy light and extend our time in the Holy War Continent." The girls nodded and agreed with Mo Qingyun's point of view. If they really went all out, even if they were defeated by Shui Yun and the others, they would have to pay a price. That price was not something they could bear, and presumably they did not want to see. In this way, how to stay in the Holy War Continent became the most critical problem. If they could not find the holy light, they would be driven out even without the help of others. If they were unlucky, they would be driven out to the void outside, which would be really troublesome. Holy Maiden Kong Xian, you are most familiar with the Holy War Continent. You lead the way for everyone. After discussing with the girls, Mo Qingyun did not want to waste time and prepared to move into the interior of the Holy War Continent. Kong Xian gladly accepted Mo Qingyun's arrangement and walked to the front, saying, "The Holy War Continent is very big, not much smaller than our Kong Xiantian sanctuary. If we walk aimlessly, it will be difficult to find the holy light. If you want to find the holy light, you have to go to some tribes to have hope of getting some." As Kong Xian led the way, he explained the situation to everyone, just like a guide. A few hours later, under the guidance of Kong Xian, everyone came to a huge mountain peak and saw a palace standing on the mountain peak. This was a stronghold. Let's go up and have a look. Kong Xian did not stop in front of the mountain peak and quickly walked up to the mountain peak, saying, entering the tribal territory of the Holy War continent. You can't fly. If you fly, you will activate their progenitor fighting spirit. The ancestral fighting spirits of these tribes are extremely powerful. Moreover, they have mastered many strange techniques. They are extremely dangerous and difficult to deal with. Hearing Kong Xian's words, Imo Qingyun's expression turned serious, and he carefully followed behind her. Not long after, Imo Qingyun and the others cautiously arrived at the top of the mountain and saw many majestic palaces. These palaces, perhaps because they had existed for too long, many of them had become dilapidated. Seeing such a scene, Imo Qingyun was a little puzzled and said, Saintess Kong Xian, you said that descending to these tribes will activate their progenitor fighting spirits. If these tribes are destroyed, does that mean we don't have to be afraid of them? Hearing Imo Qingyun's words, Kong Xian's face turned serious, and she quickly said, No, if it's a destroyed tribe, we can't descend. If the tribe is destroyed, the holy brilliance light array will be destroyed, and the ancestral battle spirit will no longer be contained. Under the stimulation of a strong fighting spirit over a long period of time, the battle spirit will evolve into a monster spirit, becoming a bloodthirsty and warlike killing machine. Therefore, if it's a destroyed tribe territory, it's better not to go there to avoid any sudden danger. Imo Qingyun and the others were shocked, and their faces turned solemn after hearing Kong Xian's words. They really didn't know about these secrets. If they didn't listen to Kong Xian's words and rashly went there, the consequences would be unimaginable. There are many palaces here. Let's split up. Under Kong Xian's instructions, Imo Qingyun and the others split up and walked into different palaces. Imo Qingyun glanced at the palaces and chose the one on the far left. Soon, Imo Qingyun entered the palace and saw a huge statue. The statue's shape was a little like an earthworm, but it had a few more legs. What surprised Imo Qingyun was that there was a huge lampstand in front of the statue. Perhaps it had been too long, but the lampstand in front of the statue had been completely extinguished. Retracting his gaze from the statue and lampstand, Imo Qingyun looked at the other parts of the palace but didn't find anything strange. Looks like we didn't find anything. After looking around the palace, Missouri Qingyun shook his head and turned to walk out of the palace. When Imo Qingyun walked out of the palace, Qian Linglong and Kong Xianin also came out. It seemed that they didn't find anything either. Immediately after, Kong Xian also came out with a disappointed expression and said, This tribe has been in decline for too long. The holy light in front of the Holy War statue has all burned out. Hearing Kong Xian's words, Imo Qingyun didn't think too much and said, There are still some palaces. Let's go and have a look. Kong Xian and the others nodded and entered the other palaces. After a while, Imo Qingyun and the others visited all the palaces on the mountain peak, but they still didn't find anything. Let's go to other places. Seeing that they didn't find anything, Kong Xian shook his head in disappointment and prepared to go down the mountain peak. When Kong Xian was about to go down the mountain, Imo Qingyun stopped and said, Wait a minute. Since Miss Xianyue entered the palace, she didn't seem to have come out. Did she find something? Hearing Imo Qingyun's words, everyone realized something. Kong Xuanin's expression immediately tensed up and said, Could it be that she's in danger? After Kong Xianin finished speaking, she moved and rushed towards Kong Xuanyue's palace. When Imo Qingyun and the others saw this, they hurriedly followed. Soon, everyone arrived at Kong Xuanyue's palace and saw that she was wrapped in a ball of light. Above the ball of light, there was an earthworm-like shadow, which was slowly seeping into Kong Xuanyue's head. Seeing this, Kong Xuanin's expression tensed up and her eyes were filled with intense worry. Immediately, Kong Xianin moved and bombarded the earthworm-like shadow above the ball of light. Xianin stopped. Seeing Kong Xuanin's action, Kong Xian immediately shouted, That's the Holy War seed. Xianyue is accepting it. Hearing Kong Xian shout, Kong Xianin quickly retreated. Shortly after, everyone revealed puzzled expressions as they looked towards Kong Xian. Chapter 3388. The seed of holy war is the cultivation source of the holy war continent, just like our bloodline and physique. Seeing that everyone was looking at him, Kong Xian explained some information about the seed of holy war to everyone. After listening to Kong Xian's explanation, everyone revealed a look of understanding. After a simple explanation, Kong Xian revealed an envious expression and said, "As far as I know, among all the people who participated in the Holy War, the number of people who obtained the seed of Holy War could be counted on 2 hands. Mo Qingyun and the others were startled by this data. In this way, Kong Xuanyue's luck to obtain the seed of Holy War was too good." Kong Xian continued, "For us, the seed of Holy War doesn't mean that we can obtain the cultivation talent of the Holy War continent. But after obtaining the seed of Holy War, we can condense holy, glorious light. After Xianyue receives the inheritance, she can condense holy, glorious light and no longer need to worry about the holy, glorious light running out." After understanding the function of the seed of Holy War, Mo Qingyun truly understood why Kong Xian was envious. To put it bluntly, if one obtained the seed of Holy War, it was equivalent to winning half of the Holy War. After explaining the benefits of the seed of Holy War to everyone, Kong Xian frowned and said, "As far as the current situation is concerned, it will take Xianyue 2 days to accept the seed of Holy War. It's not realistic for us to wait here for 2 days, but it's also hard to be at ease if we guard against her." Hearing Kong Xian's words, everyone nodded in agreement and thought about how to solve this problem. Mo Qingyun thought for a while and said, "In this case, we will leave 1 or 2 people here, and the others will continue to explore. This way we won't waste time. In addition, to prevent waiting for too long, we will give some holy, glorious light to those who stay behind." Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Kong Xian and the others immediately nodded, feeling that this was a good idea. Seeing that they had come up with a solution, Kong Xianin stood out and said, "I have already broken through to the God Emperor realm. Exploring the Holy War continent for opportunities won't increase my strength by much. I will stay behind to protect Xianyue." Kong Xianin volunteered herself, and Mo Qingyun and the others didn't object. Kong Xian nodded and said, "A God Emperor staying behind is indeed more effective than us. If that's the case, we'll have Xianin stay here. The 3 of us will continue on our journey." After deciding to let Kong Xianin stay, Mo Qingyun raised his hand and tore off a small portion of his holy glorious light. Mo Qingyun took the holy glorious light and handed it over to Kong Xianin, saying, "These holy glorious light can last for about 2 days. Including your own holy glorious light, it should be enough for you to stay in the Holy War continent for 5 days. Miss Xianyue should have more than enough time to accept the seed of Holy War." Looking at the holy glorious light that Mo Qingyun handed over, Kong Xianin revealed a worried expression and said, "Mr. Mo, you've given me so much holy glorious light. What if you don't have enough holy glorious light? Won't that be troublesome?" Mo Qingyun didn't care about Kong Xuanin's worry and said with a smile, "Don't worry, I will travel with Ling Long and Ziyan. If I don't have enough holy glorious light, they can share some with me. Moreover, if Miss Xianyue accepts the seed of Holy War for too long, she won't have enough holy glorious light. Wouldn't it be better to share some with her? After all, you can't leave this place. It's better to prepare more for you, isn't it?" After hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Kong Xianin didn't refuse and nodded her head to accept the holy glorious light. "In that case, let's continue on our journey." After giving the holy glorious light to Kong Xianin, Mo Qingyun didn't want to waste any time and turned around to walk out of the hall. Seeing Mo Qingyun's action, Qian Ling Long and Ziyan hurriedly followed and rushed towards the inner region of the Holy War continent. After coming down from the mountain peak, Mo Qingyun smiled at Kong Xian and said, "Miss Ziyan, you lead the way." "Humph, you only know how to make me work as a coolie. I'll remember this." Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Kong Xian pretended to be unhappy and fiercely glared at Mo Qingyun. After Kong Xian finished speaking, She led the way and continued to talk about the things to pay attention to in the Holy War continent. Mo Qingyun didn't dare to be careless with Kong Xian's words and seriously remembered them in his heart. After a few hours, Mo Qingyun and the other two hurried along and arrived at a mountain peak. They saw the ruins of a palace on the mountain peak. As far as the eye could see, there seemed to be strands of golden light floating in the palace ruins on the mountain peak. At first glance, it made people unconsciously feel that there were some ancient treasures buried under the palace ruins. Mo Qingyun glanced at the mountain peak and turned his head to look at Kong Xian and asked, "Are we going up? There's a big problem with this tribe. We can't take the risk." Kong Xian looked at the mountain peak for a while, and her pretty face tensed up. She rejected Mo Qingyun's inquiry. After hearing Kong Xian's words, Mo Qingyun didn't give up immediately. He thought for a while and said, "Wait a moment, let me give it a try." As soon as Mo Qingyun finished speaking, he raised his hand and summoned a demon deity. Divine King, Realm Demon God? Sensing the aura of the demon god, Kong Xian's beautiful eyes trembled and were filled with shock. Although her strength was comparable to an emperor god's, a divine king realm demon god was still a powerful force for her. Mo Qingyun nodded and said, when this demon god was in good condition, it indeed had the battle strength of a divine king. However, there was a problem during the sacrificial refining process, and it's now in a half-crippled state. I'll control it to explore the mountain peak and see if there's any danger. If there is, it won't be too late for us to leave. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Kong Xian and Qian Linglong both agreed. This was the best outcome. If there was no danger at the mountain peak and they left, they would miss out on an opportunity. Immediately, Mo Qingyun controlled the demon god to explore the mountain peak under the two girls' watchful eyes. The demon god's journey up the mountain was smooth, and it reached the mountain peak in a short while. However, as soon as the demon god reached the mountain peak, a monstrous aura erupted from the mountain peak. Immediately after, the wind and clouds gathered on the mountain peak and formed a huge golden figure. Boom! After the figure formed, it threw a punch at the demon god and blasted it into the ground. Seeing this, Mo Qingyun was shocked and quickly controlled the demon god to retreat. However, just as the demon god was retreating, the golden figure on the mountain peak slapped it into the ground again. The demon god was already half crippled. Now that it had been hit so hard, it was completely destroyed. So powerful. Seeing the golden phantom's reaction, Mo Qingyun's expression changed, and he began to believe Kong Xian's words. An abandoned tribe was indeed many times more dangerous than an intact tribe. Chapter 3389. It seems like we really can't go up. Seeing the situation at the top of the mountain, Mo Qingyun no longer wanted to go up. It was too dangerous up there. After giving up on exploring the top of the mountain, Mo Qingyun turned around and said to Kong Xian and Kong Xian, "Let's go and take a look at the other places." The two nodded and left with Mo Qingyun. They continued to go deeper into the Holy War continent. A day passed quickly. During this day, Mo Qingyun and the other two discovered the territories of a few tribes. Unfortunately, they were all heavily damaged. With the previous experience, Mo Qingyun and the other two did not take the risk to explore the territories of the tribes. Seeing that a day had passed without any results, Qian Linglong began to worry. A day has passed, and we still haven't found the holy glorious light. We can't go on like this. Hearing Qian Linglong's worried words, Kong Xian frowned and appeared to be anxious. Although her and Qian Linglong's holy glorious light lasted one day longer than Mo Qingyun's, there were only 2 days left. 2 days passed very quickly. If they were not careful, it would be over. Don't worry, there's still 1 day left. There's plenty of time. Mo Qingyun comforted the two girls when he saw their anxious faces. Being anxious won't solve the problem. Let's speed up and try to find the holy light as soon as possible. Mo Qingyun's comforting words eased Kong Xian and Kong Xian's worries. After traveling for a while longer with the two women, Mo Qingyun stopped and came up with a bold idea. He said, The path we're traveling on right now is all led by Zien. This way, the path we're taking might have been taken by others before. I'm afraid that the opportunities along the way have been taken by others. If we continue on this path, the chances of encountering opportunities are not high. Why don't we change our path? Maybe we'll find some unexpected gains. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Qian Linglong's eyes lit up. She felt that it was a good idea. However, Kong Xian's beautiful brows were tightly knit together, and she showed some concern as she said, "The Hallowed War continent is filled with dangers. If we rashly change our path, we might encounter unknown dangers." Before Kong Xian could finish, Mo Qingyun raised his hand and interrupted her. "It's not a matter of danger right now. It's just that we don't have much radiant light left. My radiant light can only last for a few hours. If I can't find more radiant light, I'll be expelled. Seeking opportunities by following the rules is no longer suitable for the current us. Perhaps there is still some hope if we take a risk." Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Sky Purple Swallow no longer insisted and asked, "Then how do you plan to go? In which direction should we continue our journey?" When he heard Kong Xian's question, Mo Qingyun glanced at the surroundings and said, "According to your previous path, we're heading towards the northwest. Next, we'll head towards the southwest. If I'm not mistaken, there should be very few people who go to the southwest. Perhaps there will be some gains there." Mo Qingyun didn't wait for Kong Xian and Kong Xian's reply and took the lead. When she saw Mo Qingyun, she didn't say anything and immediately followed behind Mo Qingyun. On the way to the southwest with the two girls, Mo Qingyun thought to himself, "I used the Gate of Providence to devour a lot of people's providence. I wonder if my luck will improve if I activate the Gate of Providence." As soon as this thought appeared in his mind, Mo Qingyun activated the Gate of Providence with a thought. Soon, a door of light shining with golden light enveloped Mo Qingyun. A golden door of light? Seeing the golden door of light appear, Sky Purple Swallow was surprised. She stared at Mo Qingyun and said, "Aren't you from the Holy Clan of Diablo Heaven? How can you use the remarkable ability of the Holy Clan of Gold Brilliance Heaven?" At this moment, Kong Xian was very puzzled. Mo Qingyun's method had broken her understanding. "This is not the remarkable ability of the Holy Clan of Gold Brilliance Heaven." Mo Qingyun gave a simple reply to Kong Xian's question. He didn't explain further. It was very troublesome to explain such things. The more he said, the more Kong Xian would think. With Kong Xian's intelligence, seeing that Mo Qingyun didn't want to say more, she probably wouldn't ask anymore. Not the remarkable ability of the Holy Clan of Gold Brilliance Heaven? Just as Mo Qingyun thought, Kong Xian heard his answer and didn't continue to ask. Kong Xian didn't ask any more questions. Mo Qingyun also relaxed and quickly led the way. Not sure if it was because he chose the right path or because of the blessing of the Gate of Fortune, Mo Qingyun's luck was much better. On the way, they encountered many tribal territories. Although they had been destroyed, the number of tribes had obviously increased. There are so many tribal territories on this road. Looking at the tribal territories that appeared one after another, Kong Xian was in disbelief. She felt that it was a little unreal. Previously, on the Northwest Road, they encountered a tribal territory every 15 minutes. That was better. Now that Mo Qingyun chose the road, they would encounter a small tribal territory in almost 100 breaths. The difference in numbers formed a sharp contrast. It seems that Qingyun made the right choice. Seeing the current situation, Qian Linglong smiled and looked at Mo Qingyun with a gentle gaze. Although they hadn't seen each other for many years, Mo Qingyun was still the same. He was worthy of her unconditional trust. Chapter 3390. They are from the Holy Light Heaven Clan. As they moved towards the peak, Kong Xian quickly recognized the people who were fighting with the primogenitor fighting spirit. Recognizing their identities, Kong Xian frowned and couldn't help but feel a little worried. The Light Heavenly Holy Clan and the Darkness Heavenly Holy Clan were born to be enemies. With Mo Qingyun's identity, he would be in trouble if he encountered the people from the Holy Light Heaven Clan. The arrival of Mo Qingyun and the other two quickly attracted the attention of those people. Soon, one of the people from the Holy Light Heaven Clan who was fighting with the primogenitor fighting spirit said, "I am Yao Exen, the 13th prince of the Holy Light Heaven Clan. Please help us." Hearing this person's words, Kong Xian showed a hesitant expression, considering whether to help or not. While Kong Xian was hesitating, Mo Qingyun shook his head and said, "Don't bother. While they're fighting with the primogenitor fighting spirit, we will search the peak." Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Kong Xian didn't think too much and retracted her attention. Following that, Mo Qingyun's group of 3 charged straight towards the palaces at the top of the mountain. Seeing Mo Qingyun and the other two's actions, the people from the Holy Light Heaven Clan were furious. While we are fighting with the primogenitor fighting spirit, you want to reap the benefits? No way. Bring the primogenitor fighting spirit over and drag them into the battle. The aura on that kid makes me uncomfortable. Let's kill him in the chaos. Just get rid of that brat. Leave the 2 girls for me. These kinds of beauties are rare. After a discussion, the people from the Holy Light Heaven Clan flew towards Mo Qingyun and the other 2 and shifted the battle circle. Seeing the people from the Holy Light Heaven Clan's actions, Mo Qingyun and the other 2's faces darkened, and they were furious. These guys were indeed up to no good. You guys go and find the Holy Light. I will fight with these people. Understanding the other party's actions, Mo Qingyun immediately made a decision and took the initiative to greet them. Kong Xian was a little hesitant about Mo Qingyun's arrangement and couldn't help but feel a little worried. However, Qian Linglong was very decisive. She immediately flew toward the palace and said, "Qingyun will be fine. Let's immediately search these palaces. The sooner we finish searching them, the sooner we can leave. The sooner Qingyun can escape danger." Hearing Qian Linglong's words, Kong Xian did not think too much and immediately flew to another palace. In her opinion, if even Qian Linglong was not worried, she should also believe in Mo Qingyun. Hey, this kid came alone. That saved us some trouble. Those 2 women aren't here yet. Let's make our move later. That way, we won't have to worry too much. This kid's cultivation base is only at the Heavenly God realm. A Heavenly God actually came to the Holy War Continent. He's really courting death. Sensing Mo Qingyun's cultivation base, the few people from the Holy Light sect were shocked. To them, Mo Qingyun's cultivation base was too low. Immediately, they started to look down on Mo Qingyun. Their cultivation bases were all peak divine kings and boundary emperors. They were much higher than Mo Qingyun's cultivation base. Yao Huang, let's hold back the primordial fighting spirit. You go and take care of that kid. After discovering Mo Qingyun's cultivation base, Yao Exen, the 13th prince of the Holy Light sect, ordered someone to take action. In his opinion, given Yao Huang's cultivation base, it would be easy for him to take care of Mo Qingyun. All right. Hearing Yao Exen's order, Yao Huang's figure flashed and flew towards Mo Qingyun rapidly. He said, "Kid, before you die, remember my name. I am the 37th prince of the Holy Light sect, Yao Huang." As soon as Yao Huang finished speaking, he slashed out with his blade and sent a blade light towards Mo Qingyun. Immediately, close to 100,000 nomological law threads merged into the blade light, causing the power of the blade light to increase tremendously. Mo Qingyun wasn't afraid of Yao Huang's attack. He chuckled and said, "I'm not interested in remembering a small cannon fodder." As Mo Qingyun spoke, he didn't hesitate in the slightest as he threw out a palm strike. Divine Lightning Dragon Wave. Mo Qingyun threw out a punch, and violent divine power gathered on his fist. Not long after, this divine power transformed into a gigantic lightning dragon and flew towards the saber light. At the same time, nomological law threads appeared above Mo Qingyun's head. Soon, 30,000 nomological law threads merged into the lightning dragon's body. The nomological law threads merged into the lightning dragon's body, causing its aura and size to increase by several times. Roar. The thunder dragon let out a low roar and charged towards the blade light in an even more violent manner. When it arrived in front of the blade light, the lightning dragon's attack didn't decrease, and it waved its dragon claws wildly. Whoosh! Under the dragon claws tearing, the saber light was torn to shreds like a piece of rag. After tearing the blade light apart, the lightning dragon's attack didn't decrease, and it continued to attack Yao Huang. Seeing Mo Qingyun's performance, everyone from the Radiant Sun Sacred Clan was shocked. He's so strong. He's comparable to an ordinary quasi-emperor. Yao Huang doesn't seem to be his match. He's probably in danger. What a despicable guy. He's actually pretending to be a pig to eat a tiger. I'll go help Yao Huang. After seeing Mo Qingyun's strength, one person immediately left the battle and flashed towards Yao Huang. When this person went to help Yao Huang, Yao Xion's expression tensed up and he hurriedly said, "Yao Huang, retreat quickly. You're not his match." Hearing Yao Xion's reminder, Yao Huang's face darkened and he was enraged and sullen. He was Yao Huang, the 37th prince of the Radiant Sun Sacred Clan and a peak God King expert. Yet, when faced with a heavenly god, he actually chose to retreat and flee for his life. Was there anything more humiliating than this? Although he felt very humiliated, Yao Huang did not insist on suffering. Instead, he wisely retreated. Seeing Yao Huang's action, Mo Qingyun sneered and said coldly, "Escape? Where are you going?" As soon as Mo Qingyun finished speaking, his figure flashed and he chased after Yao Huang. The people from the Radiant Sun Sacred Clan weren't weak. If they didn't get rid of them, there would be a lot of trouble. Right now, they were attacking separately, and it was a good opportunity to get rid of them one by one. As such, how could Mo Qingyun give up on this opportunity? He asked Yao Huang to retreat. Mo Qingyun's figure flashed, and he appeared behind Yao Huang, blocking his path. Seeing Mo Qingyun's actions, Yao Huang's expression changed greatly. She panicked a little. In this short exchange of blows, the strength that Mo Qingyun had displayed had completely frightened him. Yao Huang wasn't the only one who was shocked. Yao Xian and the others were also shocked, and their expressions were tense. At this moment, they had already stopped looking down on Mo Qingyun. He was a difficult opponent. Chapter 3391. Black Fiend Dragon Heaven Devouring Roar. Arriving behind Yao Huang, Mo Qingyun did not show the slightest mercy, directly blasting a punch at him. As Mo Qingyun brandished his fist, he also displayed a divine ability, erupting with a surge of terrifying divine power. Divine power converged frenziedly above Mo Qingyun's head, turning into an enormous black dragon in a twinkle, fusing with 30,000 law-fine threads. At this time, facing Mo Qingyun's fist bombardment, Yao Huang was also forced to hurriedly retreat. The power of Mo Qingyun's punch brought a powerful threat to him, making him have no choice but to temporarily avoid the edge. Roar! While Yao Huang was forced back, a black, enormous dragon shadow pounced toward him. In the process of the dragon shadow pouncing toward Yao Huang, it also raised its head to the sky and roared, emitting a deafening dragon roar. Suffering the impact of the dragon roar, Yao Huang's consciousness was dazed for a moment. His retreating body also stopped for a moment. When powerhouses fought, a tiny detail would affect the final result. At this moment, Yao Huang's consciousness was dizzy, his body in a deadlock. It was undoubtedly a fatal mistake. Sure enough, Yao Huang's body had just stopped when Mo Qingyun's fist struck him. Bang! A loud bang emitted. Immediately, Yao Huang's body flew out backward, his chest directly blasted apart. Although the other parts of his body were not blasted apart, they were also shaken until his blood vessels burst. Looking at him like this, even if he preserved his life, he would likely lose combat strength too. Courting death. Seeing Mo Qingyun's actions, Yao Xion's expression was livid, emitting a strong, killing intent. He did not expect that a person with celestial deity realm cultivation actually instantly lost one person facing the few of them attacking. This kind of result was not what he could accept. Even if they looked down on Mo Qingyun previously, this was also not what he could accept. Mo Qingyun's attack succeeded. He did not stop, killing that person who came to rescue Yao Huang. Seeing Mo Qingyun's actions, Yao Xion's expression tensed up. He immediately revealed a worried expression and said, "Yao Ming, quickly retreat. Don't meet him head-on." In Yao Xion's impression, Yao Ming's strength was close to Yao Huang's. If he were to clash with Mo Qingyun, he probably wouldn't have the upper hand. Hearing Yao Xion's warning, Yao Ming didn't dare to be careless and immediately retreated to Yao Xion's group. With Yao Ming's decisive retreat, he quickly pulled away from Mo Qingyun and avoided Mo Qingyun's attack. At least you have some self-awareness. After forcing Yao Ming back, Mo Qingyun sneered. He was thinking about how to beat them back. Yao Xion and the others were not weak. If they did not separate, Mo Qingyun would have a hard time dealing with them. While Mo Qingyun was pondering how to deal with Yao Xion and the others, Yao Xion said gloomily, "The few of you, hold the primal ancestor battle spirit back for 100 breaths. I will deal with that brat personally." As soon as Yao Xion finished speaking, his figure flashed and he left the battlefield. Seeing Yao Xion's action, Mo Qingyun's lips curled up slightly. He said with a smile, "You know yourself quite well. You know that you can only last for 100 breaths in my hands." Mo Qingyun's teasing made Yao Xion's face darken immediately, but he didn't retort. After a short exchange of words with Mo Qingyun, he also understood that they wouldn't be a match for Mo Qingyun even if they worked together. Divine Healing Heaven Sacred Sect. Yao Xion's hands moved quickly, forming a white door of light that enveloped him. Immediately after, the injuries that Yao Xion had suffered in the battle earlier began to heal. The divine power that he had expended also slowly recovered. Not only that, but Yao Huang, who had been severely injured by Mo Qingyun earlier, also used a divine ability to heal his injuries. Judging from Yao Huang's recovery speed, it wouldn't be long before he would be able to fight again. The Divine Healing Heaven Sacred Sect's divine ability is really too strong. Seeing the performance of Yao Xion and the others, Mo Qingyun frowned slightly. He had a new understanding of them. The best way to fight with the people of the Divine Healing Heaven Sacred Sect was to kill them quickly. They definitely couldn't drag the battle out. Because of their terrifying recovery speed, they were best at fighting a protracted battle and slowly killing their opponents. Just as Mo Qingyun was feeling surprised, Yao Xion's figure flashed and pounced towards him. Yao Xion was indeed a boundary god emperor. He displayed a strong power with a simple movement of his hand, and he was much stronger than Yao Huang and Yao Huang. However, Mo Qingyun didn't show any fear in the face of Yao Xion's attack. He still had a faint smile on his face as he said, "Your strength is not bad. You are much stronger than the previous two. However, you are still far from being able to defeat me with this." As Mo Qingyun spoke, he didn't retreat and directly faced Yao Xion. Soon, Mo Qingyun arrived in front of Yao Xion and threw a punch at him. "I would like to see if your recovery speed is stronger or if my physique is stronger." At this moment, Mo Qingyun didn't retreat, and he looked as though he wanted to exchange injuries with Yao Xion. Seeing Mo Qingyun's action, Yao Xion sneered and revealed a smug smile. He wasn't afraid of others fighting with their lives. If others fought with their lives on the line, he would be able to exhaust them to death. Bang, bang, bang. Next, Mo Qingyun and Yao Xion fought and attacked each other continuously. In a short period of time, Mo Qingyun and Yao Xion had exchanged close to 100 blows. Every blow was earth-shattering. However, after exchanging 100 blows with Mo Qingyun, Yao Xion realized that something was wrong. Mo Qingyun's physical body was too powerful. His attacks landing on Mo Qingyun's body could not cause much damage in the slightest. Not just that, Mo Qingyun's bloodline power also seemed to have very strong recovery ability. Although that kind of recovery ability could not compare to his innate divine ability, it was also very impressive. In this way, the advantage of his bloodline divine ability also became less obvious. Getting such a result, Yao Exine panicked a little in his heart, no longer having the confidence and composure from earlier. More importantly, facing the progenitor battle spirit's attack, Yao Ming and the rest almost couldn't hold on anymore either. Looking at the present situation, the corners of Mo Qingyun's mouth curled slightly, and he said with a faint smile, 100 breaths of time is almost up. Your companions almost can't hold on anymore. Do you still want to continue? Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Yao Exine's complexion was livid with rage, gnashing his teeth in hatred. He never would have thought that entering the Holy War continent this time, he would be toyed with by a celestial deity realm person. Yao Exine struggled in his heart for a bit. He did not make a move against Mo Qingyun anymore, and quickly went to help Yao Ming and the rest. Seeing Yao Exine's action, Mo Qingyun shook his head in disappointment and said, I didn't expect that you only have this bit of ability. Since you all don't have any more trump cards, then it should also be my turn to make a move. When Mo Qingyun's words fell, a hint of mockery flashed across his eyes. Yao Exine, who had a displeased expression, said, Looks like you're still very unconvinced. Then I'll make you thoroughly convinced. When Mo Qingyun's words fell, he also rapidly formed seals with both hands, condensing a blood-colored light gate. Chapter 3392. Door of Blood-Light Calamity. After this supernatural ability formed, Mo Qingyun didn't waste any words and directly smashed it towards Yao Exine. Seeing Mo Qingyun attack, Yao Exine and the others were all shocked, their expressions dignified. Isn't this a supernatural ability of the Diablo Heaven Holy Gate? What sort of supernatural ability is this? I've never seen this supernatural ability before, but it is indeed a supernatural ability of the Diablo Heaven Holy Gate. Could there be a 10th Heaven Holy Gate in this heavenly realm? Seeing the door of Blood-Light Calamity attack them, Yao Exine and the others were puzzled. As Yao Exine was puzzled, the door of Blood-Light Calamity turned into a beam of bloodlight that instantly fused into his body. Immediately, Yao Exine could clearly feel that his destiny seemed to have worsened. Not only that, but he also felt a very oppressive feeling, as if dark clouds were covering him. What's going on? His supernatural ability doesn't seem to cause me any harm, but there is a strange feeling. As this strange feeling appeared in his body, Yao Exine was puzzled. He didn't understand what was happening. He didn't believe that Mo Qingyun's supernatural ability just now wouldn't have caused any harm to him. Roar! At this time, as Yao Exine was puzzled, the progenitor battle spirit suddenly roared out, its attack becoming a bit more wild. Not only that, but the progenitor battle spirit's attack became stronger, all of it focused on him. The progenitor battle spirit's actions were like Yao Exine had killed its loved ones, forcing it to not hesitate to destroy itself. Facing the progenitor battle spirit's actions, the situation of Yao Exine and the others immediately worsened. This boy's supernatural ability is too strange. Although it doesn't cause any substantial damage, it still makes me feel a chill run down my spine. Facing the progenitor battle spirit's overbearing attack, Yao Exine spoke of his feelings to Yao Ming and the others. Hearing Yao Exine's words, Yao Ming and the others also discovered that something was wrong. Prince Yao Exine, I discovered that the progenitor battle spirit's attack seems to be focused on you. The progenitor battle spirit's actions must be related to that boy. Could it be that the boy's supernatural ability is to draw the enemy's aggro? That must be it. What a sinister fellow to use such a supernatural ability. Yao Exine and the others exchanged a few words, and their faces turned ashen. If that was the case, it was definitely not good news for them. The corners of Mo Qingyun's mouth curled up slightly as he watched Yao Exine and the others' performance. He was not in a hurry to make a move. In Mo Qingyun's opinion, with Yao Exine and the others here, they could help him tie down the ancestral battle spirit. If Yao Xian and the others left, then the ancestral battle spirit wouldn't have a target to attack and would attack him. Seeing Mo Qingyun not make a move all along, Yao Xian guessed his intentions. Snorting coldly, he said, "Humph, you want us to stop the primogenitor's battle spirit for you and let those two women search for treasures? Dream on. Let's go. Even if we don't get anything, we can't let him have an easy time." As soon as Yao Xian finished speaking, he no longer hesitated and immediately turned around to leave. At this time, what surprised Yao Xian was that as the ancestral battle spirit saw him preparing to leave, it suddenly went crazy. Roar, roar, roar. The ancestral battle spirit roared crazily. The aura emitting off its body immediately skyrocketed and became unstable. Seeing the ancestral battle spirit's situation, Mo Qingyun's expression was startled as he said, "Looking at the ancestral battle spirit's performance, it seems like it's going to self-detonate and perish together with Yao Xian and the others. Just what kind of bad things did these few fellows do to actually make the ancestral battle spirit be so hostile?" Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Yao Xian and the others were nearly angered until they vomited blood. The ancestral battle spirit being so hostile towards them, wasn't it all Mo Qingyun's doing? Quickly go. Although they were very depressed in their hearts, Yao Xian and the others ignored it. They only wanted to leave a little faster. It was just that Yao Xian and the others' speed was ultimately a little slow. Bang! An earth-shaking noise came out. Following that, the ancestral battle spirit's body exploded, producing a horrifying power storm. The moment this power storm was generated, it swept in all directions frenziedly, instantly engulfing Yao Xian and the others. Poo, poo, suffering the impact of the power storm, Yao Xian and the others vomited blood from their mouths. Their complexions were pale, and their auras were weak. Especially Yao Su, who was injured previously. When he escaped from the storm, he was practically half dead. Brat, consider yourself ruthless. I'll remember this score. Yao Xian escaped from storm. He did not dare to stay any longer, throwing down a vicious sentence and running away. Regarding Yao Xian's escape, Mo Qingyun did not chase after him. The glorious light on his body could only last for a few hours. It was best not to trigger any unforeseen events. Everything should wait for Qian Linglong and Kong Xian to find the glorious light before talking. Moreover, the Holy Gate Clan's people appeared here. Mo Qingyun was worried that they had fellow clansmen in the vicinity. If he rushed into the other party's nest, then it would be really troublesome. Therefore, under the circumstances where the situation was unclear, it was not wrong to be more cautious. Yao Xian and the others had just escaped when Qian Linglong and Kong Xian came out, both revealing shocked and curious expressions. What was the commotion of the battle just now? Before Qian Linglong could speak, Kong Xian was shocked and asked Mo Qingyun, "I felt that the aftermath of the battle just now was more terrifying than the battle between experts." Hearing Kong Xian's words, Mo Qingyun revealed a faint smile and said, "Those guys are too annoying." When the primogenitor fighting spirit saw that they were about to escape, it self-detonated, wanting to perish together with them. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Kong Xian and Kong Xian smiled bitterly. There was such a situation. They had to admit that Yao Xian and the others were really unlucky. Their ending was probably very miserable. After explaining the situation to the two girls, Mo Qingyun revealed a curious expression and asked, "How was it? Did you find anything?" Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Qian Linglong smiled sweetly and nodded. "My luck is good. I found a large ball of glorious light that can last for about 10 days. Hearing Qian Linglong's words, Mo Qingyun's expression became joyful, and he relaxed a little. Although it was only 10 days on average, each person would have an extra 3 days, but it was enough to solve the urgent problem. Knowing Qian Linglong's situation, Mo Qingyun looked at Kong Xian and asked, "Linglong, you have obtained the glorious light. How is the situation on your side?" Some guys from the Holy Light clan would rather die fighting the primogenitor, fighting spirit, then leave. There should be something precious here. Otherwise, they would have split up to collect the treasure and leave. Hearing Mo Qingyun's analysis, Kong Xian nodded in appreciation and said, "Smart. There is indeed a treasure here, and it is beyond your imagination." Mo Qingyun and Kong Xian's eyes lit up. They were curious about the treasure that Kong Xian mentioned. Kong Xian did not answer Mo Qingyun and Kong Xian's curiosity. She kept them in suspense and said, "Come with me. I will definitely surprise you." As soon as Kong Xian finished speaking, she flew towards the palace that she had just come out from. Chapter 33:93. Soon, the three of them arrived at the palace and saw a huge statue. It was a statue of a phoenix. Judging from its appearance, it was well preserved. Most importantly, the lampshade in front of the statue was shining with dazzling light. Seed of the Holy War. Looking at the statue, Mo Qingyun and Qian Linglong were shocked. They were surprised by the situation. Mo Qingyun and Qian Linglong's reaction made Kong Xian proud. She smiled and said, "How is it? You didn't expect it, right?" "Indeed." Mo Qingyun nodded and did not hide his thoughts. He said, "This seed of the Holy War is better preserved than Xian Yu's. It might be helpful for cultivation if I put it in my body." Hearing Mo Qingyun's guess, Kong Xian was shocked. She said, "I didn't expect you to guess that it has the effect of increasing cultivation." Mo Qingyun was surprised to hear Kong Xian's words. He did not expect that he had guessed correctly. At the same time, he understood why Yao Xian and the others were unwilling to leave. He said, "It seems that Yao Xian and the others fought the primogenitor's fighting spirit for this seed of the Holy War." "Yes." Qian Linglong nodded and agreed with Mo Qingyun's words. Looking at Mo Qingyun and Qian Linglong's reaction, Kong Xian was anxious. She said, "Don't just watch. Let's discuss who will take over this seed of the Holy War." Hearing Kong Xian's words, Mo Qingyun turned to look at the two ladies and said, "The qi of this seed of the Holy War is not suitable for me. You two can discuss how to distribute it." Qian Linglong was not surprised by Mo Qingyun's withdrawal. Based on her understanding of Mo Qingyun, it was normal for him to make such a decision. Before Qian Linglong could say anything, Kong Xian spoke first. "Linglong, your foundation in the royal bloodline's sacred ground is shallow. You are being targeted by many people. You need to increase your strength urgently. Why don't you host this sacred war seed and take the opportunity to break through to the divine emperor realm?" Qian Linglong shook her head at Kong Xian's suggestion and said, "No, I might not be able to break through to the imperial god realm if I put the holy war seed in your body. You can definitely break through to the imperial god realm if you put it in your body." Hearing Qian Linglong's words, Kong Xian hesitated and seemed a little embarrassed. Mo Qingyun smiled faintly when he saw Xian's appearance. He said, "Xian, you just said that we were wasting time. Why are you hesitating now? Do as Linglong says. You will host it in your body. Don't forget that Jiao Qingxi has always wanted to surpass you. You might have given her a chance. Moreover, we have just entered the Holy War continent, and we have already encountered 2 sacred war seeds. This shows that we are extremely lucky. We might encounter more in the future." Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Kong Xian's worries lessened. He blinked his beautiful eyes and looked at Mo Qingyun and Qian Linglong. He said, "Then I will host it in my body." "Yes." Mo Qingyun nodded and urged, "Just now, although the people of the Holy Clan of Guangming Heaven retreated, based on my understanding of them, I am afraid that they will not give up so easily. You should hurry up and host the sacred war seed. Try to complete it before they arrive and avoid unnecessary trouble." Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Kong Xian no longer hesitated and started to host the sacred war seed in his body. Looking at Kong Xian's actions, Mo Qingyun said to Qian Linglong, "I am afraid that the holy light in her body will not be able to last until he hosts the sacred war seed. Give some the holy light to her." "Okay." Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Qian Linglong did not think too much and sent a portion of the holy light to Kong Xian. After giving some of the holy light to Kong Xian, Mo Qingyun did not want to stay any longer. He walked out of the hall and said, "Let's go out and guard her outside." Qian Linglong responded and followed him out of the hall. After coming out of the hall, Qian Linglong split the holy light into two and said, "The holy light in your body is almost used up. Merge these holy lights first." Okay. Mo Qingyun did not refuse. He raised his hand and received the holy light, merging it with the holy light in his body. After distributing the holy glorious light, Qian Linglong also integrated the remaining portion into her own holy glorious light. After doing all this, the two of them did not stay idle. They both sat down and cultivated. Time passed little by little. As time passed, the aura of Kong Xian, who was hosting the Sacred War Seed, became stronger and stronger. After about 2 days, the aura of Kong Xian reached an extreme level. Immediately after, Kong Xian's aura broke through to a new level. Immediately after, threads of law with imposing auras appeared in the sky above the palace. Sensing this situation, Mo Qingyun and Kong Xian opened their eyes and stopped cultivating. Kong Xian has broken through. What a powerful aura. Kong Xian's aura is now close to Shui Yun's. Seeing Kong Xian's situation, Mo Qingyun and Kong Xian were shocked. They were surprised by Kong Xian's transformation. Under the gaze of Mo Qingyun and Kong Xian, the lines of law above the palace quickly gathered together. In the end, more than 100,000 lines of law turned into the shape of a rainbow phoenix. Swoosh! The rainbow phoenix chirped and flew into the palace, merging into Kong Xian's body. Immediately, Kong Xian's body shone with golden light, and the aura of Kong Xian became stronger. Kong Xian is so talented. He just broke through to the Emperor God realm, and he can already form a divine body of law. Seeing Kong Xian's situation, Qian Linglong's beautiful eyes trembled, and there was shock in her eyes. Compared to Qian Linglong's shock, Mo Qingyun made a guess and said, "If I'm not wrong, Kong Xian can form a divine body of law so quickly because of the Sacred War Seed. That should be the case." Qian Linglong nodded in agreement with Mo Qingyun's analysis. At that moment, as Mo Qingyun and Kong Xian were talking, several powerful auras approached rapidly. Sensing these auras, Mo Qingyun and Kong Xian's faces changed, and they became solemn. If they were not wrong, this should be the people from the Holy Light Heaven Holy Clan. They're quite fast. Under Mo Qingyun's gaze, Yao Xian and the others approached rapidly. Soon, Yao Xian and the others stood above the two of them. They were emitting killing intent that shrouded Mo Qingyun. Looking at Yao Xian and the others in midair, Mo Qingyun frowned and said, "You actually found an early-stage God Emperor to help you. If you came here for a while, it would indeed give me a headache. But now that I don't have to worry about attacking, it won't be troublesome to deal with you." Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Yao Xian and the others' faces became uglier. Chapter 3394. Arrogant brat. You don't even know that you're about to die. Seeing Mo Qingyun's fearless appearance, Yao Xian's expression darkened as he spoke angrily. Originally, he thought that Mo Qingyun would definitely be scared out of his wits when he saw their lineup. But the reality was too different from what he had imagined. Yao Xian, there's no need to speak with him. Just deal with him directly. Seeing how furious Yao Xian was, that early-stage God Emperor comforted him before saying, "Let me deal with this brat. The few of you should deal with that girl. At the same time, enter the palace and fight for the Sacred War Seed." "All right," Yao Xian replied. He then put on a respectful posture and said, "In that case, we'll have to trouble clan brother Yao Ning." As soon as Yao Xian finished speaking, his figure flashed as he charged over with Yao Huang and the others. Seeing these people coming, Mo Qingyun's lips curled up slightly. His eyes flashed with a hint of mockery. "It's good that you guys came together. I prepared a big gift for you." As Mo Qingyun spoke, he raised his hand and summoned a specter. This ghost god emitted a powerful aura the moment it was summoned. But because its body was severely damaged, it could no longer display any combat power. A half-destroyed God King Realm Ghost God. Is this what you're relying on? Seeing Mo Qingyun's ghost god, Yao Xian curled his lips in disdain and said, "If you're relying on this ghost god, you won't stand a chance." Mo Qingyun didn't care about Yao Xian's words. He pulled Qian Linglong and retreated. As Mo Qingyun retreated, he controlled the ghost god to charge toward Yao Xian and the others. Explode. When the ghost god got close to Yao Xian and the others, he made it self-destruct, creating a terrifying storm of divine power. Yao Xian and the others were caught off guard and were engulfed by the storm of divine power. They felt a strong impact. "Damn, brat, I won't let you off. Despicable brat, do you know how to use such a method?" Hit by the storm of divine power, Yao Xian and the others roared madly. Mo Qingyun did not care about this at all. He detonated the specter deity to trap Yao Xian and the others. Then he said to Qian Linglong, who was beside him, "Linglong, you go and protect Purple Locks. I will hold them back for a while." After hearing Mo Qingyun's instructions, Qian Linglong looked at Yao Ning and finally nodded. Based on her understanding of Mo Qingyun, since Mo Qingyun said so, he must have something to rely on. Qian Linglong's figure flashed as she flew toward the entrance of the palace. After asking Qian Linglong to step aside, Mo Qingyun smiled faintly and said, "Do you think I can't do anything just because you found an Emperor God expert?" Seeing Mo Qingyun looking down on him once again, Yao Ning was somewhat displeased. He angrily said, "Brat, it's useless to only have a sharp tongue. Whether or not I can do anything to you, you will soon know." Divine Healing Sacred Sect. As soon as Yao Ning finished speaking, he unleashed his natural mystique to increase the duration of his battle. Very quickly, a white door of light appeared and enveloped Yao Ning. When he saw Yao Ning's actions, Mo Qingyun curled his lips in disdain and said, "You made yourself sound so powerful. In the end, you are fighting a sky celestial and still want to fight a battle of attrition. What a joke." As Mo Qingyun spoke, he did not hesitate and a door of light appeared in his palm. Seal. After the sealed door was formed, Mo Qingyun blasted it with his palm and sent it flying toward Yao Ning. When he saw Mo Qingyun's actions, Yao Ning's expression changed. He was puzzled and asked, "What kind of mystique is this? It doesn't seem to be the great heavenly sacred sect's natural mystique. Where did this brat come from? Could what Yao Xian and the others said be true? Could there really be a 10th heaven sacred sect?" Yao Ning was very puzzled in his heart, but his vigilance towards Mo Qingyun also increased a little because of this. Although Mo Qingyun's cultivation level was not high, he was very strange and could not be underestimated. This brat's natural mystique is different from the previous one. Where did this brat come from? He can actually use natural mystiques of different attributes. No matter what, this brat can't be left alive. Yao Xian and the others shouted coldly. Although they were angry, they did not hesitate and flew toward Qian Linglong. When Mo Qingyun noticed Yao Xian and the others' actions, he did not hesitate and summoned another demon deity. After summoning the demon deity, Mo Qingyun made it fly toward Yao Xian and the others. It looked like it was going to self-destruct. Damn brat, he actually wants to use this move again. When he saw Mo Qingyun's actions, Yao Xian was so angry that his face turned green and he clenched his fists tightly. Although he was angry, he was also very wary and his body clearly stopped moving. He had not recovered from the injury that he had suffered earlier. "Brat, you dare to be distracted while fighting with me? You're courting death." When he saw Mo Qingyun's actions, Yao Ning shouted angrily and raised his hand to attack the sealed door. However, to his surprise, his palm actually managed to penetrate through the sealed gate when he was about to smash it toward it. Then, he saw the gate of sealing entering his body. What's going on? Seeing this abnormal scene, Yao Ning was shocked, and a strong sense of uneasiness rose in his heart. Just now, when Mo Qingyun used the sealed door, he clearly felt a sense of danger. But now, his full force attack was unable to harm the sealed door. This was far too abnormal. Before Yao Ning could recover, he clearly felt that his divine power, precepts, divine soul, and divine body were all sealed by a force. Immediately, the aura that Yao Ning emitted began to weaken rapidly. His natural mystique is a seal. Sensing the situation in his body, Yao Ning's pupils shrank and a hint of surprise appeared in his eyes. This situation was too shocking for him. Soon, the aura that Yao Ning emitted fell to the level of a half-step emperor god. Sensing that his cultivation level had fallen, Yao Ning was immediately shocked and showed a panicked look. The fall of one's cultivation level was a terrifying thing to anyone. Yao Xian and the others at the side quickly noticed that Yao Ning's aura had fallen. What's going on? Why did Brother Yao Ning's aura weaken? Brother Yao Ning's cultivation level has fallen. Could it be that brat's doing? That brat is too strange. If he really did it, he's too scary. This brat must not be left alive. Otherwise, it will be a nightmare. Ignore this woman. Kill that brat with all your strength. Yao Xian and the others exclaimed and flew toward Mo Qingyun. Seeing Yao Xian and the others' actions, Qian Linglong's beautiful eyes frowned, and she felt worried for Mo Qingyun. Then, she prepared to fly over to share Mo Qingyun's burden. However, before Qian Linglong could move, Mo Qingyun waved at her and said, "No need to help. I can handle it." Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Qian Linglong struggled in her heart and accepted Mo Qingyun's instructions. Chapter 3395. After telling Qian Linglong not to attack, Mo Qingyun summoned another demon god and sent it flying towards Yao Xian and the others. After suffering 2 losses in a row, Yao Xian and the others were traumatized by the demon gods. Now that they saw the demon gods attacking again, they immediately retreated like birds startled by the twang of a bow. Once Yao Xian and the others retreated, Mo Qingyun's situation took a turn for the better. He easily resolved the crisis in front of him. Where did this kid come from? Why does he have so many godly king realm demon gods? If he explodes a few more times, he won't even need to do anything. I'll be dead by now. What do we do now? We can't drag this out any longer. Let's attack again. I don't believe that he has more demon gods. Yao Xian and the others discussed for a while. Then their figures flashed, and they charged towards Mo Qingyun again. While charging towards Mo Qingyun, Yao Xian's face darkened, and he roared, "Kid, I don't believe that your godly king realm demon gods are unlimited." Hearing Yao Xian's words, the smile on Mo Qingyun's face widened. Although it's not a lot, it's enough to deal with you. As soon as Mo Qingyun finished speaking, he raised his hand and summoned another demon deity. A few destroyed godly king realm demon gods wouldn't be of much use to them. He might as well make use of them this time. Seeing the appearance of another godly king realm demon god, Yao Xian and the others' faces changed drastically. They immediately stopped attacking Mo Qingyun. They didn't expect that Mo Qingyun actually had more demon gods. This was beyond their expectations. Boom! Another loud explosion was heard. Under the impact of the godly king realm demon god's self-destruction, Yao Xian and the others' injuries immediately worsened. As their injuries worsened, their innate mystiques were recovering, and they were starting to feel powerless. If this continued, their foundation might be damaged. When they thought of this, Yao Xian and the others revealed some fear on their faces. Mo Qingyun was far more difficult to deal with than they expected. While Yao Xian and the others were having headaches, Yao Ning was also feeling depressed. Her heart was filled with panic. The seal in his body had yet to be undone, and it showed no signs of weakening. From the looks of it, it seemed that his cultivation, which had been sealed by Mo Qingyun, would not be able to recover anytime soon. After withstanding the attacks of Yao Xian and the others, the corners of Mo Qingyun's mouth curled up slightly. He smiled faintly and said, "It seems like you guys don't have any other skills. Then I'll start my counterattack." As soon as Mo Qingyun spoke, a glowing door condensed in his palm. Seeing the door of light in Mo Qingyun's hand, Yao Ning's expression immediately trembled. He hurriedly said, "Everyone, be careful. This divine ability of his is very strange. It can seal other people's cultivation." Hearing Yao Ning's reminder, Yao Exine and the others jumped in fright, each of them trembling in fear. Just now, Yao Ning had been hit by this divine ability. They had clearly seen it, and it still hadn't been removed. Soon after, Yao Exine and the others hurriedly retreated, putting some distance between themselves and Mo Qingyun. Seeing Yao Exine and the others' reaction, Mo Qingyun curled his lips in disdain. He said, "It was just a joke. Why did you have to take it so seriously?" Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Yao Exine and the others were immediately enraged. They were so angry that they gnashed their teeth. Soon after, they no longer retreated and began to attack Mo Qingyun. Seeing Yao Exine and the others attack, the corners of Mo Qingyun's mouth curled up slightly. He said with a smile, "Although it was a joke, it could also be true." As soon as Mo Qingyun finished speaking, he revealed a mocking expression as he looked at the approaching Yao Exine and the others. Mo Qingyun's behavior caused the expressions of Yao Exine and the others to become more serious. It was difficult to distinguish between the real and the fake. This was too torturous. Whether it's true or not, we won't retreat anymore. Your divine ability can only attack one person. If we attack together, we can definitely capture and kill you. That's right. Attack together. No need to be afraid of him." Yao Exine shouted angrily. They charged towards Mo Qingyun together aggressively. However, just as they took a step, their bodies stiffened. They saw that Mo Qingyun took out another divine King Realm Ghost Immortal. Furthermore, the aura was even more powerful. Looking at this situation, Yao Exine and the others collapsed. It couldn't be like this. This was clearly cheating. This was a divine King Realm Ghost Immortal. How could it be exhausted like this? At this moment, what made Yao Exine and the others even more anxious and desperate was that Kong Xian's cultivation was resolved. They actually came again. Walking out of the palace, Kong Xian's brows furrowed. His face gradually darkened. These guys from Light Heaven Holy Clan were really too much. They really thought that Kong Xian Heaven Holy Clan was easy to bully. Sizing up Yao Exine and the others, Kong Xian moved and charged towards them. He said, "Ling Long, let's attack together and teach them a lesson. Let them understand that others may be afraid of Light Heaven Holy Clan, but Kong Xian Heaven Holy Clan isn't." Hearing Kong Xian's words, Qian Linglong's figure flashed and charged towards Yao Exine and the others. If it wasn't for the fact that she had to protect Kong Xian, she would have already helped Mo Qingyun. Now that Kong Xian's cultivation was over, she naturally couldn't just watch from the sidelines. The cultivation is over. Looking at Kong Xian, who was approaching, Mo Qingyun smiled faintly and asked with concern. Kong Xian nodded and said, "Although my cultivation level hasn't completely stabilized, it shouldn't be a problem for me to fight with others. It just so happens that I have a breakthrough in my cultivation level. I need some sparring partners to adapt to my combat strength." After saying that, Kong Xian charged towards Yao Exine, ready to use him as a sparring partner. Seeing Kong Xian's actions, Mo Qingyun lifted his finger and pointed at Yao Ning. He said, "This one is the strongest among them. He is more suitable for you as a sparring partner." Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Kong Xian immediately gave up on Yao Exine and charged towards Yao Ning. When they saw Kong Xian's actions, Yao Exine and Yao Ning felt a strong sense of gloominess. Yao Exine was depressed because he had been underestimated, while Yao Ning was depressed because of a strong opponent. Soon, Kong Xian and Yao Ning stood side by side and instantly suppressed Yao Ning. Seeing that Yao Ning was suppressed, Mo Qingyun looked at Yao Exine and the others and said, "It seems that you guys are really lucky. Kong Xian actually broke through so quickly. In that case, there is no point in continuing to play. Let's end the battle. As soon as Mo Qingyun finished speaking, he activated the line of law, and the aura that he exuded suddenly soared. Soon, 40,000 line of law appeared above Mo Qingyun. Seeing Mo Qingyun's line of law, Kong Xian was immediately stunned. Her beautiful eyes widened as she exclaimed, "For 40,000 line of law. I didn't expect that he actually hid his strength when he fought with Jiao Qingxi previously." Under Kong Xian's shocked gaze, Mo Qingyun's figure moved and charged towards Yao Xian and the others. Now his aura was completely different from before. Not only was it powerful, but it was more of a showy edge. Chapter 3396. However, it's only 40,000 strands of precept. It's not enough for me. Looking at Mo Qingyun's strands of precept, Yao Xian snorted and did not take it to heart. However, his expression quickly changed and a strong shock emerged in his eyes. The power of Mo Qingyun's palm was even stronger than Yao Ning's. This really shocked him. No, this is impossible. How can he be so strong? Seeing Mo Qingyun's display of strength, Yao Xian's eyes widened and he found it hard to believe. Then, with shock and confusion, he was sent flying by Mo Qingyun's palm. After sending Yao Xian flying with one palm strike, Mo Qingyun revealed a faint smile. He said, "Earlier, I did not use my full power to force them back mainly because I was worried that you would find new helpers when you returned and affect Purple Lox's cultivation. Now that the cultivation is over, I don't have to worry about this anymore. Naturally, I don't have to hold back anymore." After Mo Qingyun finished speaking, he attacked Yao Ming and the others, intending to finish them off. Bang! When Mo Qingyun attacked Yao Ming and the others, Kong Xian slapped out with a palm, directly sending Yao Ning flying. Yao Ning was sent flying by Kong Xian's palm. Without hesitation, he hurriedly said, "They are very strong. We are no match for them. Run." After Yao Ning said that, he fled 10,000 meters away. His attitude was extremely firm. Seeing that Yao Ning, who was the strongest, fled without hesitation, Yao Xian and the others did not dare to stay. Then, they all turned around and fled, following closely behind Yao Ning. Mo Qingyun did not chase after Yao Xian and the others who fled. Instead, he came before the two women. After sensing Kong Xian's situation, Mo Qingyun showed a curious expression and asked, "How do you feel? Are there any changes to your body?" "No changes." Kong Xian shook her head and said, "The only thing I feel is that my strength has become much stronger and my body's recovery has become stronger." Hearing Kong Xian's words, Mo Qingyun had a rough understanding of her situation. All the treasures here have been cleared. Let's continue our journey. As soon as Mo Qingyun finished speaking, he walked down the mountain and led the way for the two women. He said, "Since our previous idea was correct, we should follow my plan for the rest of the journey." Regarding Mo Qingyun's suggestion, Kong Xian two girls did not object. The previous situation told them that Mo Qingyun's method was correct. For the rest of the journey, the situation was the same. Mo Qingyun and the other two encountered quite a few big and small tribes. However, all of them had been used by others to enter first and empty out all the treasures inside. Qian Linglong revealed a hesitant expression when she heard this. She asked, "It seems that there's a group of people in front of us who have snatched our opportunity. If we continue like this, I'm afraid we won't be able to gain anything. We'll only be wasting time." Kong Xian nodded and felt that Qian Linglong's words made sense. Mo Qingyun shook his head and said, "According to my observation, this group of people should not have gone far. If we speed up, we might overtake them. At that time, they will be eating our dust and won't be able to gain anything." Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Qian Linglong and Kong Xian were hesitant. They felt that it was a little risky. Firstly, even if they sped up, they might not be able to overtake the people in front of them. Secondly, they did not know who was in front of them. What if the other party was very strong and they offended the other party and were no match for the other party. Looking at the two women's reactions, Qingyun gave them a comforting look and said, "Don't think too much. Maybe the other party's strength is not as strong as Yao Xian and the others. Moreover, if we change paths now, we might not be able to gain anything." Seeing Qingyun's insistence, Qian Linglong did not say anything more and followed Qingyun's decision. "Let's continue," Qingyun said and increased his speed by 10%. Next, Qingyun and the other two rushed forward at full speed, trying to overtake the people in front of them. About a day later, Qingyun and the other two arrived at another tribe. It was a tribe that was well preserved. "I hope the treasures in this tribe have not been taken by those people yet," Qingyun said with anticipation. He did not stop and walked toward the peak of the mountain. After a while, Qingyun and the other two arrived at the peak of the mountain and saw a complete palace. Judging from the current situation, the treasures here should still be here. After Qingyun said this, he took the lead and walked toward a palace and started to loot the tribe. Seeing Qingyun's actions, Qian Linglong and Kong Xian did not delay and immediately went to the other palaces. Following this, Qingyun and the other two went through the palaces and looted them one after another. About half an hour later, Qingyun and the other two had visited all the palaces on the top of the mountain. "It's a pity that we didn't encounter any seeds of the sacred war." After asking the two girls about their gains, Qingyun shook his head in disappointment. Hearing Qingyun's words, Kong Xian did not know whether to laugh or cry. "Do you think the seeds of the sacred war are cabbages that you can get as many as you want?" Qingyun chuckled and did not refute. If that was the case, the domination body of heaven and earth would not be rare. Qingyun and the other two talked for a while. Then they walked down the mountain and prepared to go to the next place. Just as Qingyun and the others were about to leave, a group of people came to the top of the mountain. Seeing this group of people, Qingyun's expression changed as he recognized them. Kong ran. Qingyun recognized Kong ran. He showed a thoughtful expression and said, "So, it's you people who have been walking in front of us." At this moment, Qingyun and the other two had a clear answer to their doubts. "Let's go." After glancing at Kong Ran and the others, Qingyun ignored them and walked directly down the mountain. Seeing that Qingyun and the other two were about to leave, Kong Ran's face darkened and he shouted at Qingyun, "Wait, we haven't settled the score between us yet. Do you think you can leave so easily?" As he spoke, he moved and blocked Qingyun's path. Blocked by Kong Ran. Qingyun stopped and said, "Are you sure you want to settle the score with me? Aren't you afraid that a new one will come before the old one is settled?" That depends on your ability." Hearing Qingyun's words, Kong Ran's face darkened and a strong anger arose. As soon as he finished speaking, he emitted an aura that pressed toward Qingyun. Feeling the aura of Kong Ran, Qingyun was startled. He was a little surprised that his strength had improved. Kong Ran had actually advanced to the middle stage God Emperor realm. This was too unexpected. Chapter 3397. Middle Stage God Emperor. This guy seems to have had many fortuitous encounters after entering the Holy War continent. Sensing Kong Ran's cultivation, Qingyun was very surprised. Kong Ran's cultivation had broken through too fast. Even with his cultivation speed, he was still somewhat lacking compared to Kong Ran. Other than Kong Ran, the two people beside him were also very strong. These two were Yuan Ruiying from the Great Elder Long Yuan residence, an early-stage God Emperor, and the second prince, Kong He. "What should we do now?" Seeing Kong Ran blocking the way, Kong Xian rubbed his fists and asked Qingyun for his opinion. Looking at her performance, it seemed that she would rush out without hesitation if Qingyun said to fight. Hearing Kong Xian's words, Qingyun said indifferently, "From the current situation, it's impossible to escape. It seems that we can only fight with them." As soon as Mo Qingyun said his plan, Kong Xian couldn't wait and said, Yao Ning was too weak before. I didn't even warm up. Leave Kong Ran to me. I need such an opponent as a sparring partner. Hearing Kong Xian's request, Mo Qingyun was a little hesitant. He wondered if he should let him fight with Yuan Ruiying first. After all, Kong Ran was still very strong and had broken through to the middle stage God-Emperor realm. If Kong Xian fought with him, he might not be able to gain an advantage. However, since Kong Xian had asked, Mo Qingyun couldn't refuse immediately. He said, Kong Ran is very strong. Go and fight with him. If you feel that you can't beat him, don't force yourself too much. Just leave him to me. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Kong Xian nodded and flew towards Kong Ran, saying, Kong Ran, it's not glorious even if you win against someone 2 realms higher than you. Let me fight with you. After saying that, she took the initiative to attack without waiting for Kong Xian's response. Facing Kong Xian's attack, Kong Ran was livid. She was furious and said, Kong Xian, I've tolerated you for a long time. Today, I'll tell you, don't think I don't dare to do anything to you just because you're Saintess. Kong Ran bellowed angrily. His figure flickered as he charged toward Kong Xian. Seeing Kong Ran and the Saintess attack, Yuan Ruiying sneered and said, Let's not be idle. Let's practice with Mr. Mo and the Ling Long Saintess. That's exactly what I was thinking. Kong he laughed and nodded. Following that, the two of them charged towards Mo Qingyun and his companion. Their movements were straightforward and ruthless. Mo Qingyun's eyes turned cold when he saw Yuan Ruiying's duo. Gentlemen, this is a conflict between us and Kong Ran. Do you have to get involved? As Mo Qingyun spoke, he took a step forward towards Yuan Ruiying. However, Qian Linglong was 1 step ahead of him. She also rushed towards Yuan Ruiying and said, Leave him to me. I also need a strong opponent to stimulate my opportunity to break through to the divine emperor realm. Knowing Qian Linglong's thoughts, Mo Qingyun handed Yuan Ruiying over to her and said, They must have gained a lot of benefits from being with Kong Ran. You should be careful when fighting with him. Okay, Qian Linglong nodded. She remembered Mo Qingyun's reminder and stood with Yuan Ruiying. After reminding Qian Linglong, Mo Qingyun looked at Kong He and said, No wonder Kong Ran could become the first prince. It turns out that you, the second prince, are even more useless. You've fallen to become someone else's lackey and do things according to their wishes. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Kong He's face immediately darkened. He was furious. Mo Qingyun's words were too humiliating. Although Kong He was very angry in his heart, he did not erupt either. He said, Don't try to sow discord. I won't fall for this kind of petty trick. Seeing Kong He's attitude, the smile on Mo Qingyun's face became wider. He said, I originally thought that you were willing to work yourself to the bone for Kong Ran, just because the situation forced you to. Only now did I discover that I was thinking too much. You're too naive. You just like to work yourself to the bone like a lackey. If Mo Qingyun's words were implicit, then now it was open and above board. You're courting death. Seeing Mo Qingyun's words become more and more unpleasant, Kong He finally could not suppress his anger anymore. For a long time, Kong Ran's suppression of him had been a thorn in his heart. This time, he acted together with Kong Ran. It was also the result of Kong Ran roping him in. Kong Ran asked him to help deal with Mo Qingyun together and promised him a lot of benefits. For example, not long ago, Kong Ran led the two of them to a tribe and reaped a great harvest. In that tribe, Kong Ran and Yuan Ruiying's cultivation had improved even further. Kong He roared. His attack was fierce, and he looked like he was going to fight with his life on the line. Looking at Kong He's performance, Mo Qingyun sneered, curled his lips in disdain, and said, With your little strength, you're not even as good as Kong Ran in the Holy War qualification battle. You want to fight me? You really don't know your own limits. No wonder you're only fit to be a lackey. Since you've chosen to be a lackey, then you should obediently lie on the ground. As Mo Qingyun's words fell, his attack also became fierce, and his aura immediately soared. Above Mo Qingyun, 40,000 law threads condensed at an extremely fast speed, exuding a monstrous power. 40,000. Looking at the law threads released by Mo Qingyun, Kong He's pupils shrank, and a strong shock arose in his heart. In the Holy War qualification battle, Mo Qingyun only had 30,000 law threads, but he defeated Kong Ran. Now, Mo Qingyun had condensed 40,000 law threads, so wouldn't it be easy to crush him? Divine Thunder Dragon Transformation Wave. Mo Qingyun roared angrily and blasted a palm at Kong He, divine power madly converging in his palm. Immediately after, a black lightning dragon with monstrous aura pounced towards Kong He. When the Thunder Dragon pounced on Kong He, 40,000 law threads instantly merged, causing the Thunder Dragon's aura to soar. So strong, this aura fluctuation has reached the level of a divine emperor. Sensing the Black Thunder Dragon's aura, Kong He's heart went cold, his eyes widened, and his body trembled slightly. The strength Mo Qingyun displayed now was beyond the scope of his resistance. Kong He's mind was no match, so he immediately turned around and fled to save his life without the slightest hesitation. It was just that his reaction was still one step too slow. Before he could move, the Black Thunder Dragon approached, forcing him to take action to resist. Bang! The Black Thunder Dragon collided with Kong He, and a burst of power erupted, suppressing him like Mount Tai. Then, Kong He's body flew out upside down and crashed heavily to the ground. When the dust cloud dispersed, Kong He was half dead, lying motionless in the pit. Looking at his appearance, even if he was not killed, he was in a half-crippled state and had lost the ability to fight again. Chapter 3398. How is this possible? With Kong He's strength, he was actually completely crushed by him. Perceiving Kong He's situation, Yuan Ruiying was frightened and showed a somewhat flustered state. He did not expect that after not seeing him for a while, Mo Qingyun was actually powerful to such an extent. On his side, it was already very strenuous for him to fight with Qian Linglong. Now, that Mo Qingyun crushed Kong He, if he came to help Qian Linglong, he would be in a bad situation. While Yuan Ruiying was worried, Kong Ran, who was fighting with Kong Xian, also had a dark look on his face. He expected that Mo Qingyun's strength would improve very quickly, but he did not expect him to improve so rapidly. In such a short time, without his cultivation base skyrocketing, his strength leaped by leaps and bounds. Seeing Mo Qingyun's strength, Kong Ran could no longer maintain his composure. He looked at Kong Xian coldly and said, "Kong Xian, I'll remind you one last time. If you don't move aside, don't blame me for being ruthless. Humph. If you want me to back off, then show me some real ability." Kong Xian paid no attention to Kong Ran's warning, and instead attacked even more fiercely. Seeing Kong Xian's move, Kong Ran's face darkened, and he said, "This is someone who asked for it. Then don't blame me." As soon as Kong Ran's words fell, a long sword surrounded by blood chi appeared in his hand. God-slaying blood demon sword. Seeing the sword in Kong Ran's hand, even Yuan Ruiying's expression was greatly shocked, his eyes wide open. During the Holy War qualification battle, Kong Qinlu had already ordered to confiscate Kong Ran's God-slaying blood demon sword. Unexpectedly, the God-slaying blood demon sword was still in his hands. This was too surprising. When Kong Ran took out the God-slaying blood demon sword, the aura he exuded immediately became a bit colder. At the same time, a strong killing intent also radiated from his body. Feeling Kong Ran's killing intent and looking at the God-slaying blood demon sword in his hand, Kong Xian's pretty face tightened. She knew very well that from this moment on, Kong Ran was going to use force. Thinking of this, Kong Xian perked up 120% and raised a strong vigilance. Now that he and Kong Ran were fighting, it was no longer a simple exchange of pointers, but a real life-and-death battle. The God-slaying blood demon sword is still in his hands. Looking at the god-slaying blood demon sword in Kongran's hand, Qingyun frowned and couldn't help but analyze. With Kongran's current strength, he probably has the ability to unlock the third seal of the god-slaying blood demon sword. By then, when he activates the god-slaying blood demon sword, he would likely be able to unleash a terrifying strength comparable to a late-stage god emperor. Qingyun's heart sank when he thought of this. The situation didn't look too good. Kongran didn't have the god-slaying blood demon sword and was only slightly stronger. It wasn't too difficult to deal with him. But Kongran, who had activated the god-slaying blood demon sword, had become very difficult to deal with. More importantly, if Kongran forcibly broke the seal, he might be devoured by the god-slaying blood demon sword and become its puppet. Emperor Purple Locks die. As Qingyun pondered, Kongran slashed at Kong Xian with the god-slaying blood demon sword. Seeing this, Qingyun's expression tensed. Not good, Purple Locks is in danger. Qingyun could see that Kong Xian would definitely be seriously injured by Kongran's slash. Immediately, Qingyun didn't want to watch anymore and immediately stopped Kongran. Door of Death. Qingyun flipped his palm, and a black door of light quickly condensed and blasted toward Kongran. As soon as the black door of light left his palm, it rapidly expanded and fused with 40,000 law threads. Soon, the Gate of Death arrived in front of Kong Xian, blocking Kongran's path. Honk! A loud sound was heard. Kongran, who was attacking Kong Xian with his sword, was enveloped by the Door of Death. After trapping Kong Xian in the Door of Death, Qingyun said with a nervous expression, "The Door of Death can't trap him." Kong Xian quickly retreat. As Qingyun spoke, his figure flashed towards Kong, ran to meet him. As Qingyun approached, Kong Xian quickly retreated and hid behind Qingyun. Bang! Under Kong Ran's attack, the Door of Death instantly exploded and turned back into a mass of divine power. Coming out of the Door of Death, Kong Ran showed a bloodthirsty expression and said, "Today, none of you can get away with it. Die, all of you." As soon as he finished speaking, his figure flashed, and he slashed at Qingyun with his sword. Seeing Kong Ran slashing at him, Qingyun didn't dare to take it head-on and immediately dodged. While Qingyun was dodging, he was not to be outdone. "Kong Ran, I thought that your cultivation base should have improved a lot this time. It turns out that you're still relying on this sword. It seems that in the depths of your heart, this sword is the source of your strength. Without this sword, you're just a piece of trash." Upon hearing Qingyun's mocking words, Kong Ran's face turned livid with anger. He roared, "Qingyun, don't think you can provoke me with this. I'll kill these two women first, then I'll deal with you slowly." As soon as he finished speaking, he waved the god-slaying blood demon sword and slashed at Qianlinglong. Seeing Kong Ran's move, Qingyun's face turned livid with anger. He said, "Kong Ran, since you're courting death, I'll fulfill your wish." Qingyun roared angrily. He activated 5,000 nomological threads, and the aura he exuded increased a bit. Divine Thunder Dragon Wave. Under Qingyun's attack, a huge black thunder dragon flew toward Kong Ran. With the support of 45,000 nomological threads, the aura of the black thunder dragon immediately increased by several notches. In the face of the black thunder dragon's attack, Kong Ran didn't dare to ignore it and immediately slashed at it with his sword. Immediately, his slash at Qianlinglong was forcibly interrupted. Blood stained the heavens. Kong Ran slashed with his sword and blasted out a blood-red light at the black thunder dragon. The blood-red sword light flashed and hit the lightning dragon, blocking the black lightning dragon's attack. Crack, crack, crack. Under the attack of the blood-red sword light, cracks appeared on the black thunder dragon's superpower. In a short while, the black thunder dragon couldn't withstand the sword light's attack and collapsed bit by bit in the air. So strong. Seeing the power of Kong Ran's sword, Qingyun was shocked and became a bit more wary of Kong Ran. Now that Kong Ran's strength had greatly increased, The god-slaying blood demon sword in his hand truly displayed its ferocious power. Understanding the power of the god-slaying blood demon sword, Mo Qingyun said without hesitation, Linglong, Xian, leave this place first. I'll meet up with you too after I've dealt with Kong Ran. Hearing Mo Qingyun's instructions, Kong Xian showed a hesitant expression, but Qian Linglong quickly made a decision. I'll wait for you at the foot of the mountain. If you don't come down, I won't leave even if I die. As soon as Qian Linglong finished speaking, she flew down the mountain without any hesitation. Seeing Qian Linglong's action, Kong Xian didn't say anything and left with her. Chapter 33:99. Don't worry, when I beat him, I'll go down to find you. Looking at Qian Linglong's back, Mo Qingyun smiled faintly and answered casually. Looking at him, it was as if defeating Kong Ran was a very simple matter. Death is at hand, and you still don't know it. Mo Qingyun's performance made Kong Ran angry, and his face became even colder. However, although he was very angry, he did not stop Qian Linglong and the other girl. Seeing that Kong Ran did not stop Qian Linglong and the other girl, Mo Qingyun's mood was relieved. This was a good situation. Facing Kong Ran's cold gaze, Mo Qingyun did not care at all and said with a little impatience, Linglong is still waiting at the foot of the mountain. If you want to do it, hurry up. After teaching you a lesson, go find her. Looking at Mo Qingyun's performance, Kong Ran was completely angry and could no longer keep calm. Mo Qingyun was too arrogant. This feeling of being despised by Mo Qingyun was hard for Kong Ran to accept. Courting death, Kong Ran roared, holding the god-slaying blood demon sword. He launched an attack on Mo Qingyun. As soon as Kong Ran slashed out, the god-slaying blood demon sword erupted with terrifying power, slashing out a terrifying blood-colored sword light. Blood stained the sky. The sword light slashed out, blooming with dazzling light, reflecting half of the sky red. With the bombardment of the sword light, the sky began to collapse, as if it could not bear its power. Facing Kong Ran's attack, Mo Qingyun was not afraid at all, and directly punched out. Divine Thunder Dragon Transformation Wave. As Mo Qingyun punched out, lightning surged on his fist, gathering terrifying divine power. Soon, this divine power fused with 45,000 law threads, turning into a thunder dragon that flew out. Hong dong dong. As the thunder dragon flew, the space trembled as if it was about to shatter. Looking at such a scene, Yuan Ruiying, who was watching from the side, had a look of shock in his eyes. The current strength displayed by Mo Qingyun and Xue Ying had already surpassed his expectations. They had reached a level close to that of a late-stage God Emperor. It was still fine for Kong Ran since he had already broken through to the middle-stage God Emperor realm. What was Mo Qingyun's cultivation level? He was only a middle-stage heavenly god. For a middle-stage heavenly god to erupt with the strength of a late-stage God Emperor, that was slightly frightening. What kind of freak is this guy? How can his strength be so terrifying? Mo Qingyun's strength was beyond common sense, causing Yuan Ruiying's heart to tremble. She couldn't figure out for a long time. Under Yuan Ruiying's shocked gaze, the sword light slashed the thunder dragon, and a loud noise erupted. Then, a terrifying divine power storm erupted in midair. What a terrifying divine storm! Seeing the divine power storm erupt, Yuan Ruiying's expression trembled, and his figure moved and flew into the sky. Then he grabbed Kong He and brought him to the side to avoid being engulfed by the divine power storm. After bringing Kong He to one side, the expression on Yuan Ruiying's face became more condensed. He thought, with Mo Qingyun's temperament, I just attacked Qian Linglong. He definitely won't let it go. He has no time to pay attention to me now, but now that he has dealt with Kong Ran, he will definitely find trouble with me. As Yuan Ruiying thought so, his eyes turned cold, and a hint of ruthlessness flashed through. Immediately, his figure flashed, quietly approaching Mo Qingyun. The meaning behind his actions couldn't be more obvious. Seeing Yuan Ruiying's action, Kong Ran quickly understood, and a sinister smile appeared on his face. Then, he no longer hesitated and immediately launched an attack on Mo Qingyun. Facing Kong Ran's powerful attack, Mo Qingyun did not dare to be the slightest bit careless and fought with all his strength. Seeing Mo Qingyun and Kong Ran fighting, the smile on Yuan Ruiying's face unconsciously became wider. In his view, Mo Qingyun did not perceive his careful approach at all. To be precise, it was useless even if Mo Qingyun perceived it, because he had no time at all. Mo Qingyun died. Coming not far from Mo Qingyun, Yuan Ruiying shouted and suddenly launched an attack on Mo Qingyun. Sensing Yuan Ruiying's attack, Mo Qingyun frowned, a hint of surprise flashing through his eyes. He really did not expect that Yuan Ruiying would suddenly sneak attack him. It was just that after a brief surprise, Mo Qingyun's mood returned to calmness, and he said, "Humph, Kong Ran is really getting worse and worse." A dignified middle-stage god emperor actually used such a method to fight with a middle-stage celestial deity. Trash. As for you, Yuan Ruiying, you're worthy of being Kong Ran's lackey. Even his trash move of sneak attacks, you also learned it quite well. When Mo Qingyun ridiculed the two with words, he did not stay idle either, immediately bringing out a ghost deity. Bringing out the ghost deity, Mo Qingyun controlled it and welcomed Yuan Ruiying. A mantis trying to stop a chariot. Looking at the divine king realm ghost deity, welcoming him, Yuan Ruiying laughed lightly, a look of contempt emerging in his eyes as he said, "Winner takes all. No matter how much Mo Qingyun says, it's useless. As long as we take care of you, no one else will know." When Yuan Ruiying's words fell, he blasted a punch-out, welcoming the ghost deity. Explode. Right at this time, Mo Qingyun controlled the divine king realm ghost deity and directly self-detonated its body in midair. This unforeseen event scared Yuan Ruiying until his expression changed drastically, and he was actually stunned for a moment. Mo Qingyun did not play his cards according to common sense. He originally thought that Mo Qingyun bringing out the divine king realm ghost deity to stop him was merely putting up a deathbed struggle. He did not expect that Mo Qingyun actually self-detonated the divine king realm ghost deity, using it as a killing move. One had to admit, the effect of Mo Qingyun's move could be said to be very obvious. Yuan Ruiying had a look of shock, a pair of eyes staring wide, and actually did not know what to say. Immediately, he hurriedly retreated, giving up the sneak attack on Mo Qingyun. Bang! A loud noise came out. The place where the ghost deity exploded immediately produced a storm with a terrifying aura, engulfing toward Yuan Ruiying. The speed of the storm was extremely fast. Even if Yuan Ruiying retreated at high speed, he was still swallowed inside. Seeing the storm engulf Yuan Ruiying, Mo Qingyun's figure flashed, rushing inside the storm. Seeing Mo Qingyun's action, Yuan Ruiying's expression panicked, and he hurriedly said, "Kong Ran, save me." Hearing Yuan Ruiying's cry for help, Kong Ran did not hesitate, and also rushed into the Divine Force storm. When Kong Ran entered the Divine Force storm, he endured the impact of the storm. What surprised Mo Qingyun was that facing the impact of the Divine Force storm, Kong Ran was actually completely fine. His physique seems to have been strengthened. Discovering Kong Ran's situation, Mo Qingyun's mind stirred, and he immediately knew the reason, thinking to himself, if barring no accidents, Kong Ran's physique suddenly becoming stronger should also be caused by the law of fine threads tempering the body. Discovering Kong Ran's unusualness, Mo Qingyun's vigilance toward him immediately rose to a level. At the same time, the movements of Mo Qingyun's hands also sped up a bit because of this. Chapter 3400. You really think too highly of yourself. It's just that I disdain to make a move against you. Arriving in front of Yuan Ruiying, Mo Qingyun's expression was cold, and he flashed a slap at him. Mo Qingyun waved his palm, and heaven and earth immediately changed colors, producing a terrifying aura. A huge palm shadow blasted out from Mo Qingyun's palm, crushing down toward Yuan Ruiying. Mo Qingyun, you can't make a move against me. I'm from the Grand Elder's residence. Looking at Mo Qingyun's action, Yuan Ruiying's expression trembled, wanting to speak up to intimidate Mo Qingyun. However, when Mo Qingyun heard his words, he attacked even more ruthlessly, saying, I don't care what Grand Elder's residence you're from. You're the ancestor successor. Today, I'm going to beat you up without fail. Besides, Kongran is still the #1 emperor's son. His status is much nobler than yours, right? Or were you abused by me? While Mo Qingyun was talking, the palm shadow that he blasted out drowned Yuan Ruiying. Bang! Facing Mo Qingyun's palm shadow bombardment. Even if Yuan Ruiying resisted with all his strength, he was still blasted flying by one palm. Yuan Ruiying flew out backward. He vomited blood. His aura weakened to the extreme. If not for Mo Qingyun showing mercy, he would probably have died long ago. Mo Qingyun, you're courting death. Looking at Mo Qingyun's action, Kongran's face was livid, producing a strong anger. In his view, Mo Qingyun actually dared to seriously injure Yuan Ruiying in the face of his attack. This was a kind of humiliation to him. Mo Qingyun ignored Kongran's anger in the slightest and said without waiting for him to finish speaking, Do you only know this one sentence? Whether I'm courting death or not, it's not up to you to have the final say. Taisher Dragon Soaring Horse Transformation Art. When Mo Qingyun's words fell, he stepped on the 10-winged flying horse, and his figure flashed quickly. At this moment, Kongran's movement speed was actually a notch slower than Mo Qingyun's. Just an insignificant skill. Looking at Mo Qingyun's performance, Kongran curled his mouth in disdain and chased after Mo Qingyun, saying, Today, no matter what means you use, you're dead for sure. Release. As soon as Kongran's words came out, he pointed the god-slaying blood demon sword. Immediately, the aura of the god-slaying blood demon sword increased. Kongran. The god-slaying blood demon sword in his hands is a lot. When Mo Qingyun discovered this situation, his heart sank. Right. However, Mo Qingyun did not panic. He quickly thought of a way to deal with this situation. Mo Qingyun thought for a moment and decided not to hide his strength any longer. He brought out another 5,000 nomological threads. 50,000 law threads. Chapter 34:01. Roar. The progenitor battle spirit was awakened. With an angry roar, it attacked Kongran. As soon as the progenitor battle spirit made a move, it displayed powerful strength, causing the world to change colors and space to tremble. Facing the attack of the progenitor battle spirit, Kongran's eyelids twitched, and a look of panic flashed in his eyes. Of course, at this moment, Kongran was more angry in his heart. The progenitor battle spirit was clearly awakened by Mo Qingyun, so why was he the one being attacked by the progenitor battle spirit? This was a little hard for him to accept. Is this a coincidence, or is this part of his plan? Seeing the progenitor battle spirit's actions, Yuan Ruiying, who was healing in the distance, had a look of shock in her eyes. If this was all part of Mo Qingyun's scheme, then it was truly incredible. Seeing the progenitor battle spirit choose to attack Kongran, Mo Qingyun's expression relaxed, revealing a faint smile. Although he guessed in his heart that Kongran was hit by the door of disaster, and if the progenitor battle spirit was awakened, it should attack him. But a guess was a guess after all. Without a test, everything was in vain. Now that his guess was confirmed, the worry in Mo Qingyun's heart was put down. Kongran, you're not only annoying, but even the progenitor battle spirit can't stand it. Seeing the progenitor battle spirit attack Kongran, Mo Qingyun made fun of him and also joined the battle circle. Although the progenitor battle spirit was strong, it could only suppress Kongran. It was still very difficult to defeat him. Moreover, the longer the progenitor battle spirit fought, the more limited the strength it could erupt. Therefore, if Mo Qingyun wanted to defeat Kongran, he must wait until the progenitor battle spirit strength was at its peak. Divine Thunder Dragon Transformation Wave. Mo Qingyun's figure flashed, and he arrived in front of Kongran and launched an attack on him. Surging divine power frantically gathered in Mo Qingyun's palm, fusing with 50,000 law threads. Soon, a huge black dragon of thunder bombarded Kongran. After using a divine ability on Kongran, Mo Qingyun did not stop and continued to face Kongran. Mo Qingyun arrived in front of Kongran in a flash and confronted him head-on. At this point, Kongran was besieged from 3 sides and fell into a passive state. Seeing that he had fallen into a passive state, Kongran was completely enraged. He shouted, "Mo Qingyun, do you really think you can compete with me with the power of the progenitor battle spirit? If that's what you think, then you're too naive. Release." As soon as Kongran finished speaking, he forced out a bit more essence blood and infused it into the god-slaying blood demon sword. As the essence blood merged into the sword, the aura emitted by the god-slaying blood demon sword immediately grew stronger. Blood dyed the myriad worlds. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Kong Xian glanced at him with an anxious expression and said, "The glorious light on your body can only last for a few hours at most. Go and find the glorious light immediately. As for Ling Long, I'll stay here and watch over her. She'll be fine." Mo Qingyun hesitated for a moment, then nodded and said, "All right, I'll leave her to you. I'll go and find the glorious light now." After Mo Qingyun finished speaking, he no longer hesitated and flew down the mountain in a flash. Although Qian Linglong only needed a few hours to break through to the Emperor God Realm, he could not wait any longer. Fortunately, Kong Xian was guarding her, so Mo Qingyun was not worried that Qian Linglong would be in any danger. After coming down from the mountain, Mo Qingyun glanced in front of him and chose the direction to go. Then, Mo Qingyun moved quickly, shuttling through one tribal territory after another. However, to Mo Qingyun's disappointment, most of the tribal territories had been destroyed. This can't go on. After searching through a few tribal territories, Mo Qingyun was a little anxious. He had at most 6 hours left. If he could not find the glorious light, he would be expelled from the Holy War Continent. He could not accept such an outcome. Thinking of this, Mo Qingyun began to consider how to resolve this situation. He thought to himself, "It seems that if he's from another faction, I'll have to snatch the holy glorious light regardless of which faction he's from." Now that things had come to this, Mo Qingyun could no longer care so much. The most important thing for him now was to stay in the Holy War Continent. With Mo Qingyun's thoughts in mind, Mo Qingyun did not stop and continued to search the tribal territories along the way. Another 4 hours passed, but Mo Qingyun still had nothing to show for it. Only a little more than 2 hours left. Seeing that the glorious light on his body was getting weaker and weaker, Mo Qingyun became even more anxious. 2 hours was too short. It could be said to be fleeting. At this moment, Mo Qingyun's heart was intersecting as he searched at full speed. Boom, 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 boom. The sound of a fierce fight suddenly came from the front and entered Mo Qingyun's ears. Someone is fighting. Sensing the fight ahead, Mo Qingyun was delighted. He immediately rushed forward. In his opinion, since he met someone else, his situation would take a turn for the better. No matter how long the other party's glorious light was left, he would snatch as much as he could. The longer he stayed in the Holy War continent, the more hope he had. In a few breaths of time, Mo Qingyun flew at full speed and arrived at a mountain peak. He saw two groups of people fighting. These two groups of people were extremely strong. Each side had two God Emperor realm experts, and they were fighting to a standstill. Each side has a middle stage God Emperor and an early stage God Emperor. What powerful strength! Sensing the strength of both sides, Mo Qingyun was slightly startled. He was considering which side he should help. As Mo Qingyun observed the two sides, he saw a familiar figure in the black robe side. It's actually him. Mo Qingyun recognized the other party. He revealed a playful smile and said, "Originally, I was still hesitating about who to attack later. Since you are here, it's much easier to choose." Mo Qingyun made his decision. He no longer hesitated and immediately flew towards the two groups of people. Mo Qingyun's arrival attracted the attention of both sides. They released their spiritual senses and scanned him. When they discovered that Mo Qingyun's cultivation was only at the heavenly deity realm, they ignored him. However, there was one person in the group of black-robed people who revealed a shocked expression. He stared at Mo Qingyun with widened eyes. It's him. He actually participated in the Holy War. After recognizing Mo Qingyun, this person revealed a shocked expression. He became extremely vigilant. He was very clear about Mo Qingyun's strength. He was not any easier to deal with than a God Emperor. Feeling the other party's gaze, Mo Qingyun revealed a faint smile and said, "Brother Luo, long time no see. Who would have thought that we would meet here? What a coincidence." That's right. This person Mo Qingyun recognized was Luo Qinsha, the person he had fought with in the Sky Fragrance Dynasty. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Luo Qinsha's expression immediately turned ugly. Mo Qingyun's greeting made him feel uneasy. It gave him a bad feeling. Chapter 3404. Seeing that Mo Qingyun was acquainted with Luo Qinsha, the group of people who were fighting against Luo Qinsha immediately raised their guard against him. In their opinion, since Mo Qingyun was acquainted with Luo Qinsha, he must be a helper of Luo Qinsha. Even though Mo Qingyun was only a heavenly deity, it would still be troublesome for him to join the group. What surprised everyone was that Luo Qinsha did not respond to Mo Qingyun's call. Seeing this situation, the expressions of both parties turned weird. They felt that something was amiss. Under the curious gazes of everyone, Mo Qingyun maintained his smile and said, "Brother Luo, it has been a long time since we last met. It is fate for us to meet here. It just so happens that I have met with some trouble. I hope that you can lend me a hand. My holy glorious light is about to run out. Could you share half of your holy glorious light with me?" Only after hearing Mo Qingyun's words did everyone notice that his holy glorious light was about to run out. After understanding Mo Qingyun's intention, that early stage God Emperor from the group of people fighting against Luo Qinsha said, "This friend, I can give you a day's worth of holy glorious light. How about you share the burden with one of us?" Hearing this person's words, Mo Qingyun hesitated for a moment before replying, "Sure. I'm more familiar with Brother Luo. I'll help you block him." Seeing Mo Qingyun readily agree to share the burden of dealing with Luo Qinsha, that person revealed a satisfied smile. Other than the two God Emperors, Luo Qinsha was the one with the strongest deity energy in this group. If Mo Qingyun could deal with him, it would definitely be an unexpected gain. After reaching an agreement with the other party, Mo Qingyun did not waste any more words. He said, "Since you have agreed, give me the holy glorious light first. Hearing Mo Qingyun's request, this person revealed an awkward expression and said, "Friend, you haven't done anything yet, and you're already asking us for the holy light. I'm afraid this isn't too good, right?" Mo Qingyun was displeased by the other party's attitude. He said, "Under normal circumstances, there would naturally be no problem. However, my holy light is about to run out. Just in case, it's better to get the holy light as insurance. So, let's get the holy light first." Upon seeing Mo Qingyun's attitude, one of the quasi-god emperors in the group said, "Senior Brother Ding Sun, don't bother with this person. Without his help, we can still defeat the Nine Sky evil tribe." Mo Qingyun's expression turned ugly when he heard this person's words. He said, "It looks like you guys aren't sincere about cooperating. You just want to use me to tie down Luo Qinsha for you. Once your battle is over, my holy glorious light will also run out. You guys won't have to pay any price. This is a good plan." Upon hearing Mo Qingyun's words, the group of people was stunned, and they vaguely revealed a guilty conscience. They had indeed thought of doing what Mo Qingyun said. Seeing that the other party did not speak, Mo Qingyun did not waste time talking nonsense with them. He directly flew towards one of them and said, "Since you guys aren't cooperating, I have no choice but to do it myself." The person Mo Qingyun was flying towards was the person who was unwilling to cooperate just now. In Mo Qingyun's opinion, it was this person who had spoken and ruined his plan of obtaining the holy glorious light. "Arrogant brat, you actually dare to attack me. You're courting death." Seeing Mo Qingyun rushing towards him, this person's expression darkened, and a strong sense of anger rose within him. He, a dignified quasi-god emperor expert, was being looked down upon by a heavenly god. He could not accept this. Seeing this person's reaction, Luo Qinsha sneered proudly and thought to himself, "Reckless fool, how dare you look down on this brat? You'll regret it later. But this is also good. Let them fight each other, and we can also reap the benefits." Under Luo Qinsha's gaze, Mo Qingyun's figure flashed and appeared beside this person. He threw out a punch. Divine Lightning Dragon Transformation Wave. Mo Qingyun threw out a punch. Divine power crazily gathered on his fist, erupting with a terrifying aura. At the same time, 40,000 threads of law with terrifying aura appeared around him. These law threads were very obvious. They fused into the divine power and turned into a huge lightning dragon. Roar! After the lightning dragon was formed, it raised its head and roared, attacking that person. When the lightning dragon attacked that person, the people fighting in the surroundings all revealed shocked expressions. This kid's strength has actually reached such a level. No wonder he dared to challenge Luo Qinsha. So this is his confidence. This brat's battle strength has reached the level of a half-step god emperor. Yin Chao is in trouble. Seeing Mo Qingyun's strength, the people of Nine Heaven Evil Tribe were pleasantly surprised. Compared to the joy of the people of Nine Heaven Evil Tribe, Ding Sun and the others' expressions were tense. Because of Yin Chao's bad words, they had provoked a powerful enemy. If it was under normal circumstances, with Mo Qingyun's strength, he would not be a threat to them. However, at this critical juncture, an ordinary divine king expert could affect the entire situation. Moreover, Mo Qingyun's strength was comparable to a half-step god emperor expert. "Friend, please show mercy. I agree to your request." After seeing Mo Qingyun's strength, Ding Sun did not dare to hesitate and immediately shouted at Mo Qingyun. In his opinion, if he allowed Mo Qingyun to seriously injure Yin Chao, it would be really troublesome. Hearing Ding Sun's request, Mo Qingyun smiled satisfactorily and said, "I can stop, but he has to give me all the holy, glorious light on him." Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, the expressions of Ding Sun and the others turned ugly. Mo Qingyun was too much. He was actually asking for a yard after giving them an inch. Seeing the hesitation on Ding Sun's face, Mo Qingyun smiled faintly and said, "Think about it carefully. If I attack him, I won't be taking away the holy glorious light. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Ding Sun no longer hesitated and said, "All right, I agree to your request. Here are 5 days' worth of holy glorious light, the same amount as Yin Chao has. I hope you can keep your promise after taking the holy glorious light, and help me keep Luo Qinsha busy." After Ding Sun finished speaking, he raised his hand and threw a lump of holy glorious light at Mo Qingyun. Mo Qingyun waved his hand when he saw the holy light flying closer and closer to him. He absorbed it into his own holy light. After Mo Qingyun fused with the holy glorious light, his expression relaxed and his heart relaxed slightly. Now, no matter what, the problem of exhausting the holy glorious light was completely resolved. Although 5 days was not a long time, it was enough for him to slowly prepare. "Don't worry, I have always kept my word." In response to Ding Sun's reminder, Mo Qingyun smiled faintly and gave him a reassuring look. Immediately, Mo Qingyun turned his spearhead and charged at Luo Qinsha. Chapter 3405. Mo Qingyun, I advise you not to meddle in other people's business. Opposing my clan will do you no good. Luo Qinsha's face turned ashen when he saw Mo Qingyun charging towards him. He warned in a cold voice. In his opinion, if Mo Qingyun knew what was good for him, he would obediently retreat after hearing his warning. However, to Luo Qinsha's disappointment, Mo Qingyun did not retreat. Instead, he revealed a mocking expression and said, "You know that meddling in other people's business would do you no good. Why did you meddle in the affairs of the Kongxiang dynasty last time?" Mo Qingyun's rhetorical question left Luo Qinsha speechless. He didn't know how to refute. Luo Qinsha was silent for a moment before he coldly shouted, "I interfered in the struggle for the throne of the Kongxiang dynasty because I was invited by a friend. How can that be compared to the current situation?" Upon hearing Luo Qinsha's words, Mo Qingyun was immediately amused. He smiled and said, "What a coincidence. I'm attacking you now because I was invited by a friend. Didn't you see that he gave me some glorious light?" Luo Qinsha snorted coldly in anger when he heard Mo Qingyun's words. He wasn't willing to continue arguing with Mo Qingyun. He had experienced Mo Qingyun's eloquence in the Kongxiang dynasty's imperial mausoleum last time. It was truly amazing. "Young master," well said. "We are friends. It's only right for you to lend a hand." Ding Sun laughed heartily when he heard the conversation between Mo Qingyun and Luo Qinsha. He had originally been worried that Mo Qingyun would have misgivings after Luo Qinsha's warning. Now it seemed that he had guessed that Mo Qingyun didn't care about Luo Qinsha at all. That's only natural. If I encounter trouble, can I still be considered a friend if I don't help? Mo Qingyun responded heroically and said, "Brother Ding, I'm taking a huge risk to help you block Luo Qinsha. Once they're repelled, you'll have to do me a favor as well. Please speak, young master. As long as I have the ability, I will not refuse." Brother Ding didn't think too much about Mo Qingyun's words and replied politely. Mo Qingyun smiled in satisfaction when he heard Ding Sun's reply. He said, "You've seen it too. I have very little holy radiance on me right now. Brother Ding, can you maintain holy radiance for me for another 10 days after I defeat them?" Cough, cough. When he heard Mo Qingyun's request, Brother Ding coughed lightly and didn't speak any further. He really didn't expect Mo Qingyun to really speak. Maintaining the holy light for 10 days was no different from robbery. Seeing Ding Sun's reaction, Luo Qinsha sneered and mocked Mo Qingyun. "Mo Qingyun, so your so-called friend isn't even worth 10 days of holy light. How about I give you the holy light for 10 days, and you help us deal with them?" Luo Qinsha's suggestion surprised Mo Qingyun. He put on a thoughtful expression. Chapter 3406. Brother Mo, don't be instigated by them. Why would we attack you? Sensing Mo Qingyun's hostility, Ding Sun immediately explained and made his stance clear. Mo Qingyun nodded in satisfaction when he heard Ding Sun's explanation. Brother Ding, I'm relieved that you're able to distinguish right from wrong and not be instigated by them. After settling the matter with Ding Sun, Mo Qingyun's expression turned cold. He turned to look at Luo Qinsha and said, Initially, I thought that it would be fine as long as I kept you busy. However, you forced me to make a move. You can't blame me for this. As soon as Mo Qingyun finished speaking, his figure flashed, and he threw a punch at Luo Qinsha. A violent surge of divine power blasted out from Mo Qingyun's fist. It merged with 40,000 strands of nomological laws and transformed into a huge fist shadow. As the fist shadow blasted towards Luo Qinsha, it exploded with a terrifying aura that caused the space to tremble. Seeing such a scene, everyone was quite shocked. Mo Qingyun's strength was too terrifying. 9 shades cover the sun. Luo Qinsha didn't dare to be careless in the face of the incoming fist shadow. He immediately executed a sacred art. Luo Qinsha's hands moved quickly to form a black imprint. He threw it into the air. Immediately, the imprint glowed brightly and expanded rapidly. In almost an instant, the imprint covered the sky. It was as if dark clouds had gathered and the sun had been devoured. Boom! When the fist shadow landed on the mark, a loud bang erupted, causing the mark to shake violently. After shaking a few times, the imprint collapsed and slowly dissipated in the air. Luo Qinsha's expression changed greatly when he saw this. His eyes were filled with shock. His all-out defense had been forcefully defeated by Mo Qingyun's casual punch. After destroying Luo Qinsha's defense with one punch, Mo Qingyun shook his head in disappointment and said, You're really too weak now. Mo Qingyun sighed in disappointment. His figure flashed, and he attacked Luo Qinsha again. At this moment, Mo Qingyun's attacks were much fiercer than before. He didn't give Luo Qinsha any chance to catch his breath. Bang, bang, bang. In just the blink of an eye, Luo Qinsha suffered several punches and was sent flying by Mo Qingyun, crushing. In front of Mo Qingyun, Luo Qinsha did not have the slightest ability to resist. Seeing this result, everyone was stunned. This guy's strength is too terrifying. I'm afraid even early-stage god emperors might not be as strong as him. Is he really a heavenly god? He must be hiding his strength. This guy is really too treacherous. Everyone cursed in their hearts. Under everyone's shocked gazes, Mo Qingyun smiled faintly at Ding Sun and said, Brother Ding, Luo Qinsha has already been crippled. There shouldn't be anything left for me to do, right? Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Ding Sun smiled bitterly, not knowing what to say. He couldn't let Mo Qingyun leave. But Mo Qingyun had already heavily injured Luo Qinsha, causing him to lose the ability to continue fighting. He had fulfilled his promise. But to let Mo Qingyun leave, Ding Sun felt some heartache. The sacred brilliant light that could last for 10 days was exchanged for Mo Qingyun's less than 10 moves. Such an outcome made him feel heartache. As Ding Sun was hesitating, an early-stage god emperor from the 9 Heaven Evil race glared coldly at Mo Qingyun. He shouted, Brat, you injured Luo Qinsha and still want to leave? Hearing this person's words, Mo Qingyun's expression turned cold. He turned to look at him and said, If I want to leave, can you stop me? What an arrogant brat. I'd like to see how capable you are. The moment this person finished speaking, he gave up on his opponent and charged towards Mo Qingyun. Seeing this person's action, Luo Qinsha was startled. He hurriedly said, Cousin brother Luo D, don't force him to act. In Luo Qinsha's opinion, this action of Luo D's was not a wise choice. If Mo Qingyun left, they would have one less opponent, which would lessen some of the pressure. Now that Luo D had acted against Mo Qingyun, he was undoubtedly forcing Mo Qingyun to stay and continue dealing with him. More importantly, if Luo D was entangled, the pressure on their side would increase greatly. Luo D ignored Luo Qinsha's shout. Perhaps in his opinion, dealing with Mo Qingyun was just a matter of time. Once he dealt with Mo Qingyun, he would deal with the other human experts. It wouldn't delay him at all. Seeing Luo Di attacking, Mo Qingyun revealed a mocking smile. Putting aside your combat power, with your intelligence, I can beat you 5 times over. Even Luo Qinsha can see that there's no benefit for you if I stay. You're actually forcing me to stay. Are you a human spy? Upon hearing Mo Qingyun's words, the 9 evil tribe members' gazes changed as they looked at Luo Di. It had to be said that Luo Di's current action was a little too idiotic. Compared to the anger of the 9 evil tribe members, Ding Sun and the others were delighted. They were happy to see this. Luo Di's attack had not only created a powerful enemy for the 9 evil tribe members, it also made the holy glorious light that they took out even more valuable. Feeling the strange gazes around him, Luo Di was so angry that his face turned ashen. He said furiously, "Boy, wait until you die in my hands. Then you'll know whether you can beat me or not." As soon as he finished speaking, Luo Di threw a punch at Mo Qingyun. Faced with Luo Di's attack, Mo Qingyun did not retreat. Instead, he took the initiative to meet him. In terms of strength, he was not afraid of anyone. Moreover, although Luo Di was a god emperor, he had not been tempered by the loss. Peng, Mo Qingyun and Luo Di clashed head-on. Immediately, there was a loud explosion and a storm of force was formed. However, in a head-on confrontation, Luo Di was actually blasted back repeatedly, suppressed by Mo Qingyun. Seeing this result, the surrounding people were shocked again. They found it hard to believe. This Brother Mo's strength is so strong that it's unbelievable. Ding Sun was pleasantly surprised by Mo Qingyun's performance. He became excited. To him, the stronger Mo Qingyun was the better. He would be of more help to them. Seeing Luo Di's performance, the 9 evil tribe, middle stage god emperor's face darkened. He said, "Idiot, you can't do anything right. You're good at ruining things. The situation has changed. Let their tribe go first. We'll retreat." After that expert finished speaking, he stopped fighting with Ding Sun and led the 9 evil tribe members away. Hearing the leader's order, Luo Di showed an unwilling expression. He glared at Mo Qingyun and said, "Boy, you'd better wait quietly. Don't let me see you again in the sacred war continent." Luo Di left with Luo Qinsha and the rest of the group after throwing out these harsh words. Seeing the 9 evil tribe members leave, Ding Sun smiled and walked towards Mo Qingyun to thank him. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.